as well. Let's see if the CT side can pull off a big victory here in the best of three. This is the utility coming out for Sotfik. He probably dropped a pistol, I'd imagine. Well, he's only got $200, so only a little P250 for Dexter playing the mini raid boss. Diffuse and smoke out for Bondic, and a fast player looks to come through towards the A bomb site. Indeed, that first smoke down, catching CTs in rotation back towards the market area. Dexter will provide cover as Bondic starts facing in. Nickel back here from Connector will tap up. They'll see the first man. They'll take a line down as well, and a 5-on-3 scenario goes the way of the T side.
Great openings coming out from ESPADA. They've already established this jungle control, which is going to make this retake even more difficult from WINSTRIKE. So many great kills coming out. Patsy with the Glock with 2, and Lucky's the last one left. What a pistol round. Great shot coming out from Lucky. But ESPADA, well, their name is written all over this round, Jay. A simple execution, the cross smokes the A bomb side, and just some really great duels with the Glocks.
Yeah, this is a very overwhelming pistol round that ESPADA are going to be happy to take. Very fast play, catching WINSTRIKE in the rotations as well. That's the most important thing. The fact that those came down at the perfect moments. That should not have been as confident as it was for my money, but they just, caught WINSTRIKE on the way back over to the B bomb site. And the scouts are out on the force buy for the CT side as a result. So the early start will go the way of ESPADA, it seems. And smoke set with the flashbangs over. Scout coming forward, and the pistols, the standard, the Deagles, the CZs and such coming through for the WINSTRIKE camp. ESPADA, of course, with plenty of rifles, 3 AKs total, so not sparing any expense here into round 2.
WINSTRIKE looking to see if they can find some sort of counter. Now, we saw in the pistol round quite a heavy stack over at the B bomb side, and it seems like it's a very similar setup coming into round number 2. This time around, a shift over to A. 3 players at A, a 1 out to the mid, and just a single player of Crizzen trying to defend that B bomb side. For ESPADA, they've got so much map control at the moment. They're starting to make their way up through Connector. They can start to split in through short, maybe get a player boosted up into window. They've got so many options with this mid control.
To connect Dexter and Finnegan. Got a line set to the A site play. Lackey as well to the mid position. It's a lion there with a first headshot. Finding Patsy. Tagging up Dima though. His AWP play might not be so fantastic. His scout plays though, landing 2 kills. Nickelback and Lackey can come in and pick the rest of the pieces apart. It's Dima, a 1-on-5. He'll fight, but he'll lose. That is a hell of a return from WINSTRIKE.
Oh my goodness, what? Ow? Like, no one goes down from the WINSTRIKE side, and they just take long-range duels. We see a Lion, great shots coming out with that scout, doing a hell of a lot of damage, and then just asking for assistance. Ooh, ESPADA, that was looking really scary. They had great map control, but it seemed like once they were in Connector, and as soon as they faced up against a Lion, they had no response.
Well, I think that sets the pace for how this game is going to go here, Dwayne.
Yeah.
WINSTRIKE. Again, I'm going to leave this A bomb site pretty light as ESPADA start leaning in with their pistols. This force buy could once again be one back here, but the T side can't. Dima does get a line for 1 good frag, but Bondic's got 2 and drops that bomb looking for a 3K. Nice against Dexter. Going to hit the CZ up against the Lax player in the Palace position. 1 more out towards mid, and I think they know about that player as well, so not really much that they can do from here. Bondic going to pop his head up, take that kill. Nice and easy. And WINSTRIKE deal with the anti-force buy about as confidently as they dealt with the rifles. I say that. And for a moment, Sotfik was on to clutch. Missing that 3rd shot, though, cost them the round.
It was looking scary, but look, they clean it up. Maybe they could have probably been happy with 3 or 4 players staying alive, but at the end of the day, you've got to think that's a round victory. And especially when you're up against a force, it's really vital that not only do you try and keep players alive, but you're winning out the round. 2-1 now on the scoreboard for WINSTRIKE, and even for Bondic, a lot of confidence. Not one of the biggest fraggers out for the I suppose, WINSTRIKE side, but certainly a good performance from him. And I'm wondering who's picking up the in-game leader role, because Hobbit, when he was playing on this team before going over to Gambit Youngsters, he was their in-game leader. So I'll be a little bit interested to sort of see who's going to be picking that up in terms of the long game for WINSTRIKE.
Well, in the short term, they've just got an eco pistol set to deal with, so should be easily cleaned up here. Small gap in that smoke for the Deagle to wipe with. You saw it there in the apartments. Bursting up from the SMG of a Lion, not willing to take the long-range faces against the pistol, especially knowing those Deagles could well possibly be in play. ESPADA in general just very passive, looking to pick apart any CTs that try to over-aggress. Almost found one of the apartments. Alliance are going to take that face back out towards the mid control, trying to farm up some cash, get the AWP out early. He's actually going to get sandwiched in by his T side. The spray is awkward, therefore they find that kill. It's not a massive loss for the CT side, but they're being really pressured here by these pistols.
We saw some really scrappy sprays coming out from a couple of players of WINSTRIKE, and I tell you what, these pistols are actually doing a fair bit of damage. They've taken a line down, Lackey's down at 9 points of health. They're going to try and split up through connector and at least get a bomb plan. If they can take down Bonding, this could be a massive opportunity.
Nickelback gets Dima, and he's still here in the connector jungle area. 3 kills to his name as he mops up the players making their way out, and the bomb's been dropped. Sophics left alone to die at this stage because he needs the money bonus for ESPADA. And indeed, Christian will catch him in the back, take him down. Third to the board of the CT cap. ESPADA now up for the rifle v rifle round. The Lion going down, still manages to get enough money out on his board to afford the AWP. So should see that buy-up coming through. And in general, actually, the money's been pretty well built for WINSTRIKE.
It's been decent. Be able to get that AWP out, get a line fired up. Now, one thing we certainly noticed on the T side of Inferno, yeah, it's a completely different map, but we hardly saw Deegster AWPing pretty much at all on T. It was only CT side that he picked up that AWP, so we're yet to sort of see the AWP come through. Once the money line gets a little bit stronger, no window smoke coming out, and, well, that was a bit strange coming out for the Ts, but the walkout from A's to come through.
Flashbang in, Lackey and Nickelback able to respond all the same to a 2-on-4 scenario. Bomb dropped outside of Tetris. Dexter spots Lackey before the smoke blooms, so can take him down, but he himself is also low. Further nades and flashes coming forward. A player from CT gets turned on by Finnegan, but Crizin still manages to find it, and Dexter's too low to win out the clutch. So WINSTRIKE confident starting things off on the CT cap. The pistol was awkward. Every round since that point has been all CT.
That was really just such a questionable play from Sophics. Like, if you're taking mid control, a lot of the time you don't do it individually. He was all by himself, and they smoked out bottom con and top mid, and he just ran out from mid. Window was not smoked. He had no info out to his short, and it's just like he gave up his life. He had no support for a trade. And from there, as soon as they lose the opening pick, ESPADA are forced into just walking out from A and just running into just a meat grinder from WINSTRIKE.
Deagle's set, AWPs and M4s, and AK for Crizin as well. Ooh, heads being seen. Demo couldn't quite land his shot, aiming a tad bit too high there. Secure his position so WINSTRIKE can get out of dodge, save their bacon in this case. And the ESPADA currently set themselves for the default peaks and hoping to prod for a kill or two, but not much should go their way. Maybe a split into towards the A site could take out some of these CT defenders, but it's very tentative right now from the Ts.
Split up through con once again seems to be quite a common tactic to come out from the ESPADA side, is to get a bit of a opening opportunity out through con. I mean, they found one with the Deagle, but they need to really try and get this bomb plan through, Jay. They have picked up an M4.
The Lion still there, fragging away with the AWP. Lackey coming up with a kill on Dima. The Eagles being faced up. Bondic gets Dexter, and now that M4 is all that remains for Patsy known. And taken out. Bondic on 1 point of health, but that's not a kill in the eyes of ESPADA. Only one round going the way of the ESPADA side. Of course, Ecos lead to rifles, and indeed those buy-ups come through across the T-side board. Dexter with the AWP was disappointing in that last game here. But now looking to redeem himself with the AWP back on his hands. But Alliance already out-fragging him, so now's the time to step up. Absolutely,
and one thing that WINSTRIKE have in sort of their sort of back pocket is the fact that they can start running double AWPs with Lackey. He's an exceptional AWPer, so if they get the money line going, they can start to double AWP. ESPADA needs to find a response, and you've got to think, especially with this being their map pick, they need to be able to find at least something. This time around, not really too much mid presence coming up. They've actually just given it up for the CTs, and just a dry peek from Crizin. A great opening frag being found from WINSTRIKE.
It's Patsy sending back on Lackey though, so 4 versus 3. Bondic catching Finnegan next out on the A bomb site play. Not reckoning to check out the ramp position, seeing Dexter eventually catches him on the second face. So Patsy is left alone, and very well coordinated from the position and peeking there of the WINSTRIKE side, winning out those fights, not by accuracy, but just sort of by forcing out little mistakes in the ESPADA camp. 6-1 on this defensive board, and that will force the money back to half by status. I say that, and we've seen plenty of force buys on Mirage in the last week, Drake, so why not see one more come out from ESPADA?
Why not? I'm kind of surprised that we're seeing it. It's not a bad buy, but the fact that they don't have a lot of utility is probably the biggest surprise, and that they've got a Galil up for Dexter. But you've got to think for their sort of mental standpoint, they need to find a response. They need to put some rounds up on the board, and if it means that we have to force, then we've just got to go for it. This honestly could be a Palace pop with maybe a bit of a lurk or from Sophics to be able to wrap from underpass to catch some rotators off from B, but they're just going to run out with a flash.
Still got smoke set. They could potentially siphon them off. Gonna wait for that ramp smoke to clear. And then ESPADA will go here. Smoke on. I believe that's connected jungle set from Sophic. No, it's actually the mid smoke instead. Flash is over. There's wow, 2 kills coming in for Patsy and Demon. Nickelback and Bonding going to 4 or 5 versus 3, and WINSTRIKE already in for the save. The A site was not ready for that, expecting a set piece, but just saw a flash and kills and instantly around the board for the T side.
I'll tell you what, we actually really like that setup coming out from ESPADA. Just the Palace pop now. Whether it's like, I take a sort of another map as like a sort of a consideration of how similar it is. When you go for like an apartments pop on a map like Inferno, you need to make sure that the kills are instant, because if you don't get those kills instant, you don't have anything to fall back on. You're not using any utility. All they had was a single flashbang over the top of Palace for 3 players to swing out. They got instant kills. Nickelback goes down, Bondic as well, and WINSTRIKE say, yeah, we're out of here. We're just going for the instant save. Sparta, the kills came in instantly, and that's what they needed.
If you need some skins, you can go to Hellcase to get your hands on some. You can open up some sick cases and use codes MultiV and MultiV15 for some free money and free 15% refill bonuses as respective. So right now, more for the wins on the ESPADA account. They've got, of course, the rifles out once again. Very fast utility coming through immediately. This is a very curious get at the jungle smoke, but seems like it's just going to be out for a very fast fake play, because they're not going to commit off the back of that. That bomb getting picked up, 2 players rotating out of the T-spawn, and no T-side players make their way out.
That's interesting. I've not seen that before. So that was actually just like an anti-rush, basically, from ESPADA. They're actually faking that they went for an early rush tactic to A. Now they've got 2 players over at the B-bomb site, and Alliance spotted them with the AWP. That actually might bring some rotations over.
Still watching out. Opened up here towards the apartments, ready for a good couple of picks potentially. Meanwhile, the main T-side force are acting towards the A-site player, again trying to sell them on something out here. They'll only be able to do damage. The first kill goes the way of Bondic. Alliance traded back by Sophic though, and he's the only player on the B-side directly. Pushes will come through as they quick rotate. Kristen will catch off Sophic, and as soon as they get Bondic, they can rotate back, and indeed, Patsy gets that frag. Kristen's acted so well to defend B, but now going to get up for the retake on A.
And they'll be able to get a free bomb plant. Now, Finnegan can start to push CT if he wants to. The only problem is, though, if he pushes CT, he's not going to be able to help his teammate at Patsy on the side. 2-on-3 post-plant coming through, and Nickelback's going to flank from behind.
Set and ready. AK watching out the connector area. Both players are going to come in from connector, actually. They have no idea that Nickelback sneaking in the back lines. They'll see one spray through, take him down. It's all left to Patsy. Next is the last player remaining. Nades on site. Going to try and cut off the CT presence. We'll see 1 and 2, but only get 1 frag for his trouble. And WINSTRIKE will just about clutch the round.
I'll tell you what, ESPADA really, we saw it on that first map in the best of 1. They try and pull out a lot of fakes and try and bait out rotations. And they did a pretty good job of it, but Kristen does so much work. He has such a great defensive hold around that short position at B. If he finds 1 kill and gets traded, that round probably goes the way of ESPADA, because they probably even out the playing field, getting that bomb into a 2-on-2 on the site. But the fact that they pull the rotations out, but they don't find the entries, it means that that post plant's just too difficult to hold on.
Oh, the damage being done to the CT count. Once again, ESPADA been doing great with the HP advantage, but the player advantage is something very different. Crazy going to get forced back early though, as to go for a fast play out from the B site. Dima tagged up, Lucky takes him down, doubles up, makes it not quite a triple actually. Crizzen comes in to support as Dexter gets Nickelback, but gets no more. Bomb dropped, 1v4 for Sophic. This is an easy 8 for WINSTRIKE.
Oh my goodness, this is getting out of hand now. This is becoming ridiculous. 8-2 up on ESPADA's map pick. And one person we mentioned, well, two people, I want to say, and the best one that we mentioned had some really great performances, was Finnegan and Dima. Finnegan 0-0 and AJ.
And he was like one of the top performers as well for ESPADA in that last map, so now seeing him fall off, now seeing him have some trouble, it's concerning. It's very concerning now. WINSTRIKE is continuing to hold their dominant sort of stances. The AK's aggressing, the damage done, blind through smokes. Nickelback's already found a frag. Lucky's gonna get something. And it just continues to get worse and worse for this T side. Nickelback getting a nade kill on Finnegan, 5-on-2. Like, this is already a round for the CD side. This is already a WINSTRIKE 9th.
Oh my goodness, they get so many kills through smokes towards top mid. And even Patsy's getting spammed down, 10 HP. Just going to avoid the nade, but how much more is he really going to avoid? 1-on-4. He's so far away from the bomb. And WINSTRIKE, they don't have to peek. They don't have to. They can just stay passive. They can wait for him to come to them. But ESPADA, man, now the players, you've got to think that they're even in the back of their mind thinking, right, was, you know, taking a 5-week break in the player break actually the right decision? Did we need to keep grinding like the rest of the tier 2 teams have? Because we've certainly seen in the tier 2 levels of Counter-Strike, Jay, that pretty much no one has taken a break. It's only the tier 1 teams that have been able to kind of say, like, halt off from the competitions.
We wondered which team of our predicted 2 would end up dropping out here. It looks like, I mean, I don't want to call it early since it is only round 11, but just ESPADA are getting decked by WINSTRIKE. There is no fun or easy or simple way or nice way to go about it. They are just being destroyed right now. And it is kind of like worst case scenario at the moment, you know. It's one of those things where it's like, I talked about obviously the idea that ESPADA were going to come into this one on poor form and they were going to have a very fun time against WINSTRIKE, and I thought, you know, maybe they might be able to get 6 rounds or so in some of these maps, you know, maybe they might be able to get some good halves, but like the worst case scenario was them coming in and being like single digits in 2 rounds. Like, you know, only a pistol and a conversion and being wrecked by that. They didn't even get the conversion. They just got a good rifle where they overwhelmed WINSTRIKE one time and they fell back, didn't want to go for the retake. And ESPADA, just ever since that point, have not been able to win much. Tactical pause being called, and appropriately so, I say.
Look, they've tried a lot. You're certainly right. You know, they won pistol off a set execution to A. They won their second round off the Palace pop. But outside of that, they've been taking mid control. They've been splitting up through connector to A. They've had apps presence as like a B, like fake to A. They've done a lot of fakes. And it's pulled rotations, but it hasn't found any kills. And that's one of the things. When you're trying to fake, especially on a map like Mirage, you need to be able to keep the rotations at bay. And the only way you can is if you're finding kills and holding the CTs there. That's where they're struggling at the moment. Even opening advantages aren't really going their way.
There's Dima. Opening things up at last with an opening kill for ESPADA. Will they be able to follow suit? Will WINSTRIKE find their trades? They've already got the mid control established. The Alliance holding that standard AWP angle that won them the early conversion with the scout. And certainly posting better numbers than his earlier map up against Icicle Boars. ESPADA, though, leaning in towards the B-bomb site where Alliance is not placing for. It's Crizzen and Nickelback instead there with the defensive flashes over. They look to face in, seeing one player out in the open. The spray and the Molotov actually from Nickelback actually gets the kill. So 4-on-4. They do overwhelm the 2 players in the site, though, and from there they probably do call in the safe call from WINSTRIKE. They've got a lot of money, but just going for this 4 versus 2 is not really worth much sense.
No, it certainly isn't. Maybe see if you can find some extra kills, keep the economy low on that T side to try and break their economy once again. A good play coming out from ESPADA. We saw that they were able just to run out from mid. They had no top mid smoke, and for WINSTRIKE, it looked like what they were actually trying to do is boost Lackey up into that ladder room position. A lot of the time, it's a pretty easy thing to do, especially when the T's keep smoking top mid, because you've kind of got that vision taken away from you. But with no top mid smoke coming out and just the wide swing from ESPADA, they've got all the vision in the world to find that opening pick. From there, they just split their way out through short, execute to that B bomb site, and deal with the defenders pretty much instantly. A third round on the board from ESPADA, and you've got to think, like, 6 is the most rounds that they can get at the end of this half, but even with that, they'll probably be pretty disappointed with 6 rounds.
Rebuys coming in for WINSTRIKE. Got plenty of money in the bank. Probably not enough to go for a buy for every round of the half, but still going to be enough for this next one. So, see Orbs, the M4s coming through. And the regular sets of utility coming in for the CT camps as well. Dexter watching the mid controls. Nickelback, the player to hold that presence. C2 pops out and actually gets taken out for it. Awkward timing there. Orp and M4 still there to try and maintain control, but Lackey goes down next. So 5 on 3, slightly overly aggressive faces from the CT camp, and they'll get punished for it. It seems like Quizzer might get overwhelmed, and indeed he does.
So many dry faces coming out from ESPADA, just running out from mid. Great shot coming out from the Orb, but Alion's going to be alone at beat. He's got so much work to do, gets dinked down, and this round's pretty much all but over. Abondic's been seen. They know exactly where he is. And there should be a 4th round up for the ESPADA squad. And I tell you what, it's scrappy. It really is on this T side, where we saw in the early section of this round, they went for that fast set utility to the A bomb site again as a fake. They ran out from mid. They are hardly using any util at mid. They are just dry, wide swinging WINSTRIKE at the moment.
Fourth to the board of the T side, and again, kind of catching players off guard in the aggressive faces is really what ESPADA were doing there. 2 players swinging in against 1 out to the short control in the catwalk area, and then from there the mid control in the sniper's nest. Much better at punishing the opposition, and for ESPADA that will be the way forward should they look to continue here in this T side. WINSTRIKE, a bit of a dilemma here. I think they're going to go for the force by 4. I mean, the economy wasn't quite there to get everyone up. They do manage to get some M4s, though, and I think they could still drop... Bonner can actually afford another weapon, so... See the M4s come through, not too much of a worry, but they will be a little bit limited in utility.
ESPADA looking to see if they can follow up with these couple of rounds now in a row. Again, they use a lot of early nades to this A bomb site. This time around, though, they've faked with it a lot. It looks like they actually want to try and continue. And Dexter, he's going to try and walk out through Palace. Bondic. Oh, they've seen the barrel now.
Spray through impact, he gets the player down. Smoke from Nickelback will try suppress. They're going to go for another early execution. They're certainly set up for it this time, WINSTRIKE. But only 2 players to defend A. Incendiary is going to try to force Dima back, and Lion heard that tag, so he's not sticking around on shore. He'll smoke that cross, try to get out of dodge. I think he saw him there towards the bench area. He's still looking for the player. If Dima jumps up and tries to look for a lucky kill or a second face, he doesn't, so he gets away alive, as meanwhile the rest of the T starts swinging him from mid and look for what seems to be a B split.
You can even see Lackey's his attention's pulled away from some sort of split in window because they've got no information at mid at the moment. They don't know whether someone's been pushed up towards window room. A Lion saw a bit of information of Dima, but outside of that, they don't really know. And they're going to be walking into this AWP to short.
Oh, a Lion flick back, drops that bomb, stalls for time. Gonna get back up in from the connector position. Yeah, Lucky does get Dima down. A frag to find as the backstab's taken out. Now T-side moving in, and the bomb plant gets close. Lackey can deny it right here. He takes out Patsy instead.
Oh.
Dexter catches the line in the mid position, but Nickel back on the backstab. Now leaves it all to Dexter. 1 on 3, and WINSTRIKE doing a fantastic job at trading. And in the end, they come out on top with a 10-4 scoreline.
Oh my goodness, what a response to come out from WINSTRIKE. And again, we saw desperate plays. I'm not really sure if it's desperation or it's just kind of the style of play from ESPADA, but we see so often just dry faces, like hardly using any utility. The fact that they just round the corner from short, and Lion has just the easiest time in the world with the AWP, drops that bomb, forces ESPADA up through connector to A. Double digits out for the WINSTRIKE side. And if this was their map pick, I'd say, okay, fair enough. But this is ESPADA's map pick, Jay. It's unacceptable.
Smokes out, Crizin backed up, jump face, trying to get some information, trying to get back out of dodge into hard cover. Lucky's there to support with the AK, getting that frag. Further utility to try to stall for time. Demo is so close and Crizin hears it, but he's unable to deal with the headshot out of that kind of range. Lucky's going to get swung on. Demo gets a second kill. Utility out against Nickelback. He's also looking for a trade back to a 3-on-3. On sight, sees Sophic, but doesn't land the head. And now it's a Lion. Closest player to the site on the retake here for the last round of the half. They've got no choice but to go for it, and Bondic's going to try back him up, but they are taking their sweet time with this.
Yeah, they're really starting to slow it down. Lion and Bondic has got so much work to do to try and get back into the site, and straight away, shooting that AWP gives away the information of where that AWP is, and even Dexter's been pushed up into that ninja position, and Lion, what can he really do here? 1 versus 4, there should be a 5th round on the board. And some pretty nice kills. I mean, you've got to give the credit over to Dima. He opened up that site.
Indeed, yes, and in general, some like slightly better performances coming out from ESPADA there in the latter few rounds of the half. But still a 10-5 that they will not be very happy with, especially on some of the lower numbers on the board. Finnegan, 1 kill. 1 kill in an entire half so far. And even the top fragger of Patsy is like on par with Crizin, the bottom fragger of WINSTRIKE. Like, it's still concerning numbers for ESPADA and something they're going to have to readjust for when it comes to that second half.
I normally see those stats from your games. It's very surprising to sort of see to see Finnegan, you know, fragging so low, considering how impactful he was just, what, an hour ago? An hour and a half ago? It's not long. Yeah, that's a rough time for the ESPADA side. And you look at WINSTRIKE, look how close their kills are. Everyone is on either 10, 11, or 12. Like, that's pretty impressive how close they are between one another.
I mean, great to WINSTRIKE. No one's had like a major standout performance. They've all been contributing in equals. And what may well be a game to take, and certainly one to find against ESPADA, which would decimate them.
Ooh, I think the logos are swapped.
Yeah, the logos are swapped. No way that WINSTRIKE have that kind of money line.
Yeah.
But of course, if you didn't want to take advantage of ESPADA's odds, and of course you can do so placing a better loot bet. Banner under the Twitch channel, get yourself some 10 free CSGO spins and a bonus €100 deposit. As WINSTRIKE set themselves up for the pistol execution, it's going to come in very early.
A quick set piece to come out to the A-bomb site. ESPADA have only really got a single defender here from Finnegan. This is going to be a retake setup, considering the fact they've got 2 mid players that are now forced behind those smokes.
No kit for the retake though, so Nade's on. That's not going to do much damage to Finnegan at all, but Alliance still going to look around this corner waiting for the flashbang to come through, blind himself off as well. But Finnegan is the man to fall for the first in the half. Bomb plant secured, 5-on-4. ESPADA going to try their hand at a retake, but again, no kits, no tire, and the bomb plant is planted closed. As long as they hold off CT control, they should be in a good spot here. Facing in, Sophic gets prison. Alliance and Lackey trade back. Dexter finds one to respond, but Alliance can't quite land his shots of his own right. 2-on-2, they have access to the bomb now. And Glock's picked up, but Glock's held back. Dexter not going to be seen here towards the default position. They swing on towards Nickelback. Bond gets Sophic to a 1-on-1, but the time's ticked too far. Dexter's found 3 frags. He looks to find no more as Bond gets out of dodge. So does Dexter. And we see 11 to the board of WINSTRIKE.
Okay, WINSTRIKE. All it really came down to was denying time, because ESPADA didn't have a kit, and they took so long to get that retake together. The wide swing came out from that CT position. The trades came out nicely, Jay, but considering how much pressure there was out to that CT position, it meant ESPADA had to slow it down. And I can understand the force buy coming back into the second round of the second half, because you've got to think for them, they need to find a way back in, and they've actually been able to get an M4 into Dexter. So it's upgraded pistols, it's a single M4, it's doable.
Mach 10 in for Lucky. clean up some money here alongside Nickelback. They only find the one pick towards the mid control, though, as the rest of the hit comes through towards A site. Again, nades on towards CT spawn. M4 out. Prison shuts it down. Instant control to a 4-on-3. He's pretty low, though, so these pistols could still do some damage. Fires away for Soptic, but allows Nickelback to cross. They were so focused on Palace. The M4 recovered to upgrade one of the Mac 10s that they had. Patsy grabs one of the Mac 10s on the CT cam. Finnegan gets a kill, his second kill, I think, over on the CT spawn area. So 3-on-3, but I don't think... Well, they're going to do some damage at least, but I think this retake is still off the table.
Yeah, it looks to be that way, considering how low they are, and even when Alliance able to take down Patsy, that pretty much secures the round now. Finnegan and Sophics, Finnegan's just way out on the site. They're really running out of time at this point. There's no way they can go for it. They don't have time.
Flashbang from a Lion just in case. Seeing where that bomb's been planted, knowing that there's no one there, gets out of dodge. They do get 2 rifles for free, though, and, well, I mean, the M4 was obviously bought, but even so, for a force by round and 4 players going down, and considering what ESPADA really had, that's not terrible for the CT side.
It's okay. It's a bit of a silver lining. But they need rounds. That's really what they need. Need a bit of self-confidence for Finnegan. You know, just... they can look at the score line and say, right, Mirage is pretty much done. But at least if we can get the individuals fired up, at least going into Dust 2, we have a chance. We have a chance of taking our opponent's map pick. Because you look at this at the moment and you think, there's just surely no way ESPADA can come back from a score line like this.
Flashes out early, WINSTRIKE, going to try and make that to be the reality. Patsy does get 1 frag, but Lion and Nickelback do try and back in. Demon with some good headshots on the Deagle, but now it's Finnegan in 1 versus 3. M4 on this guy to do something, and just not going to happen, unfortunately. Bondic going to get the kill. 13 to the board of WINSTRIKE, and 5 on for ESPADA's first buy-up of the half. The AWP in for Dexter, the M4s across 4. And the confidence of that round from WINSTRIKE might build the money line a little bit, but they're still going to be on an awkward stance when it comes to the overall, a surplus. A small tech pause to be called here, which might break the momentum of WINSTRIKE, but no tactics should be called here.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay, but I don't even remember seeing a ESPADA tap pause in this map. I don't know if you remember if we've seen one or not, but
no.
If they've had at least one, they haven't had a lot. Like that's certain. I don't remember a single tap pause coming through, and it makes me wonder. You know what's going on with the comms at the moment? You're down 5-13. Now, if you kind of take the best of ones out of consideration, you know, take all of like the points of the player break, you know, going into this game, take all that out of consideration. When you compare these two teams, you go, right, the big advantage that ESPADA have in this matchup is the firepower. The big advantage WINSTRIKE have in this matchup is the experience and, you know, the tactical depth. But even for WINSTRIKE, man, are they looking sharp. Like, they are really, like, they are countering a lot of this raw firepower at the moment.
Just countering it with firepower of their own. Again, no one player standing out. It's all those players sort of very balanced on the kill counts. And the AWPs will not be coming in for the T side, but they've still got, you know, plenty of rifles to try and counteract it of their own right. And, you know, Alliance still a very capable AK player. M4's out in the open. Lackey still gets Soptic to open things up. Tagged to 50 HP. We can fall back out into the T-spawn. Wraparounds to come through towards the A-site play, and only 2 there to defend against it. Finnegan and Dexter, which admittedly is a good position for the AWP, but so much presence to deal with as WINSTRIKE set for the execution.
This has got to be a pick coming out from Dexter. Oh, if he starts to rotate, means his teammate's going to be alone. This is so unfortunate. Even if he rotates to CT, it's going to be a really long rotation, and he's going to get smoked out.
Finnegan is the damage dealer. Ready with the M4 set. A Lion now with a smoke set alongside Lackey towards connected jungle. Dexter going to see that smoke get ahead of it. And going to have a Palace here in the case of Finnegan. Down the corner, damage being done. Flashes over will catch them blind. Finnegan gets 1 pick, and Dexter gets a second. Backstabs are incoming. Nickelback could be in a lot of trouble, but Christian gets himself 2 frags. Look, Finnegan so close. He somehow stays alive in this one, and Nickelback finally swings to get the frag. Patsy left alone. 1 on 3. They still don't know about the backstab. He can find them up, but only gets 2. Christian just recovers it. but you could see disaster in their eyes.
Oh my goodness, that could have been a massive 1-on-3. Things were looking so great for ESPADA, Jay. Finnegan and Dexter were able to find a couple of picks between them. They had the backstab coming through, but it's just chaos. How did the T's find so many kills there? And Patsy, Crizzen, just so quick to turn around.
And the Lion so quick to kick things off. AWP now in his hands. 14-5, and an eco to respond here from ESPADA. This probably should be a map point for WINSTRIKE. They're going to work so hard on bringing this back to overtime, and it's just like after a round like that, after you had so much potential, and it just got turned away by timing alone, it's not been the day of ESPADA today.
It really hasn't, and unfortunately, you know, sometimes you can say the point, they're in the upper bracket, so they've got another chance. They don't have another chance. They're in the lower bracket elimination game. They lose this best of 3, they're done. They're out in last place. WINSTRIKE are 2 rounds away from being able to pick up their opposition's map pick to take us into Dust 2 with a massive advantage to work with. And the 8 bomb site's pretty much clear at this point. There's no one here.
It's a gamble stack from ESPADA, so they're about to feel the hurt. They're really about to feel the hurt. Utility coming in to make 100% certain that there is no angle to work with if they had any CTs out here, and they're all going to have to stack rotate back in with the pistols and the firepower, what little of it they have. Try to see if they can lock their way into a round, because at this stage, ESPADA need it. They'll have a buy in the next round anyway, so, you know, why not just throw your bodies at this site and see if you can get something out of it, but so timid on the CT setup, so no chance.
15-5. It's just mentally they're done. Like they're absolutely done. ESPADA just looking for some exit kills, doing some sort of damage. WINSTRIKE have just come out on Mirage looking just exceptional. They're looking very, very flourished. They're looking like they've completely turned it around from how the best of 1 result went. Because, again, Jay, to make the point, both of these teams weren't expected to face off against each other in this matchup. Both of these teams, theoretically, should have been in the upper bracket.
By all accounts, you're right. But here we are with a disappointing performance from ESPADA, a close, narrow upset for WINSTRIKE, and like the disappointment continues. It looks like the upsets will not be repeated. Double upset out for Patsy and Dexter to hold one final piece of contention here for all the ESPADA side, and need to win this next round and then the 10 following it to stay alive on their map pick. And the Lion already takes out Patsy to start. 5-on-4. CT's getting downstairs. It's stopped pick up and goes here. Steve with an awkward spray, trying to find anyone in the apartments, but Crizzen will just trade it back. The bomb should get picked up and planted. One player in the back lines with something hurt. He might not have been, but there's a smoke there to cover him off. And Finnegan going to get called out towards the mid position. A Lion up, turns on for the orb. Finnegan drops next. Dexter's alone and burning. 6 HP in a dream. And the dreams don't come true here in this game.
They certainly don't. Dexter, 1-on-3. He's got so much to do, such little to work with. Only 6 points of health. One swing coming out. That is a sensational shot onto Bondic, but he's running out of time. Does not have a kit. He needs to get these kills through now, and that's going to be lucky to secure the deal. 16-5 WINSTRIKE. What a sensational performance on this first map. And for ESPADA, Jay, it is time to get very, very concerned. That was a very poor performance from them. And for the Russians, well, I mean, Russians on both sides, but for ESPADA, you've got to think, like, guys, what is going on? This should never happen.
But that's the thing, right? It's like, listen, I called a worst case scenario. I said, listen, the worst thing that can happen here is they get started in the series and they just do not show up. And that is exactly what happened there in that one. And I said that as like a thing, as like, look, this is the worst thing we can expect out of ESPADA. There's an unlikely chance of that happening. There's a good shout that they took on board what happened in the first map, and then they're going to come back into this best of 3 series and do some damage. But no, they did not. And we got the worst case outcome in that case for ESPADA. Their map pick as well, by the way. Like, that's just, that's such a concerning thing to lose. And I understand that, yes, they're both pretty, the maps can sort of like be balanced in the favor of ESPADA going into Dust 2. But it's like, you consider like just the performance metrics. And on Dust 2, a map that's so aim heavy, How do you expect to win on that?
Well, I look at Mirage and I think, right, did WINSTRIKE do anything exceptionally good to be able to get a victory like that? No. They played simple Counter-Strike. They found opening picks, they found really good trades, and they were retaking. Like, that's all it really came down to. It wasn't like, oh, you know, we were gamble stacking at B and that's how we won the round, or, oh, we were just so aggressive, we were, you know, we were just holding W, or, oh, you know, this. No, they played simple Counter-Strike. They outclassed, they out-aimed their opposition, and you've got to think it's a Dust 2. It's only going to be a similar tale.
Outclassing, out-aiming is exactly how you win Dust 2. This could be a very quickly over series. Over on the mainstream, though, that match is still going on. Much closer, actually. Isaaco Boars, 9 rounds. I had to go 10 against the Singularity side. So right now, they're having a pretty good time over on that one, Blake. But here for ESPADA, it feels like it's only further hell to come. We're going to go to a short break and find out whether they can deal with that hell coming into Dust 2. Do not go anywhere. We've got the rest of our elimination match after the break. Welcome back to Malta Vibes, and welcome back to our match between WINSTRIKE and ESPADA. We're into the second map of the best of three, and it's not been looking good for ESPADA. They just got 16-5'd on their own map pick of Mirage on Dust 2, where they were pretty much outclassed on the last map. It's probably going to be another outclassing here for this one. Like, it's so frag heavy, and it wasn't just one player popping off. Everyone had similar numbers over on that WINSTRIKE side. Like, it would be a crime to have that side-to-side comparison we usually get from our partners at Grid. To get that side-to-side comparison to the top fragger of WINSTRIKE, because how can you take that as like a lone sort of thing? Like, listen, this is the guy that had the most impact. They all had amazing impact at the end of the day. And for ESPADA, considering that there were players that had little to no impact, and there were players that struggled to keep up with the WINSTRIKE side on the higher end. We've got problems. We've got problems across the entire board.
We do. You even look at the stat line there. Now, you've got a side of WINSTRIKE where everyone went positive. Then you look over at ESPADA, one person went positive, and the only person was Dexter that went 16-15. So you've got to think going into Dust 2. I think it's a far gone conclusion that they're able to bring this series back. I think mentally they're checked out already. They've been absolutely slapped in the best of one. They've been slapped again in the first map of this best of three. And I think we've got to kind of sort of rethink our thoughts about ESPADA and think, right, they're not ready to perform at the same level they did before the player break.
To give you some context around the reason why I hate this comparison is because 19 frags for a Lion, the lowest fragger on the WINSTRIKE side is at 13. So
yeah. Just
to highlight, okay, right? Like, if all the kills were transferred to a Lion and he was the pop-off player, this would be like 27 or so.
Yeah.
Like, that's the reality of things, like that's the kind of impact we're talking when it comes to side-by-side comparison. Great that Dexter managed to do some good work in dragging ESPADA out some really difficult situations. I wouldn't have been surprised at a 13-2 half off the back of the first one in that last map, but Dust 2 is the second one. The first one is in the past. We've now got to focus on this next one. And again, the reason why I say that it could be a possibility is because Dust 2 in general has not been won very often by WINSTRIKE, but usually that's because they're up against squads who have a lot of firepower in their own right. I mean, they did lose to Tiki Taka in advance, so there's that. They've lost an RB Junior, who are a pretty respectable sort of firepower squad. They lost to Heroic, who are also in a really good position at the moment by comparison. Spirit as well in the road to Rio for a team that right now are contesting at the highest end of the CIS scene. All these names you look at and you think, okay, those are understandable losses for WINSTRIKE. And you consider the nature of Dust 2 and how ESPADA performed in that first map and in our best of one, you can see where issues can start to crop up.
You can see it pretty much immediately. Certainly. You've got to look at this WINSTRIKE side and think, right, everything points their way. Yeah, they might not have the most decent results, but when you're facing off against top teams in the Tier 2 and sometimes even Tier 1 region, it's difficult to get wins. So for WINSTRIKE going into Dust 2, it's a pretty safe pick against a team like ESPADA. They certainly would have been able to, I would say, scrim these guys a fair bit in the player break. They would certainly have known that Mirage and Dust 2 coming out has kind of favored them quite heavily. So for ESPADA, I'm just hoping that they can at least get to double digits. If they get to double digits and they actually put up a pretty good fight, I'll be like, okay, that's somewhat impressive after what we've seen from them today, but I just think it's just going to be another one-sided stomp.
Yeah, and just for reference in history, obviously the last time these two teams played, they had the exact same maps out in the veto. Dust 2 was the first map that was played. It went WINSTRIKE 16-10. The time before that was in their first series together, which was a 16-12 also for WINSTRIKE. So not only have they got the advantage in terms of form and the advantage in terms of the map, they've also the disadvantage in terms of the map, I should say. They've got the advantage in terms of history. So they've already got a couple good maps in against ESPADA on Dust 2. So for me, it feels like it's over already. I mean, I hate to be that guy.
Yeah.
But, this is the first time in history WINSTRIKE have been able to take Mirage, and they did it in such a dominant fashion, which just highlights the issues and the concerns that we had for ESPADA going into this tournament. Yeah,
look, it's certainly something that, days before we didn't see coming, but it's certainly proven that they're not ready. I don't, obviously, there's a lot of rumors and things you could say, but we don't know the information, whether they've been just taking 5 weeks completely off or whether they've had a bit of time to practice. But it's certainly shown that it's going to take them a couple of weeks to be able to get back to that form. Maybe a little bit longer. We'll have to sort of wait and see, but it's not going to be instant. And if it hasn't happened in the best of one and it hasn't happened in the first map in this best of three, it's certainly not going to just go like that and come in the map of Dust 2.
Yeah. That sounds about right. That's a perfect assessment for me. Like, to be honest, I don't really know what else I can add, just because of the fact that ESPADA just seemed like they've fallen off here in this one. And it is sort of what you mentioned at the end of that last round. They've got to go back and probably look towards the look towards the future, because this doesn't feel like it's going to be a fun time. Ninth round about to go live, so a chance to remind you all that Malta Vibes is brought to you. Oh, sorry, we're actually in the pistol round. Excuse me. So a chance to remind you that, of course, Malta Vibes is brought to you by Gaming Malta at Home of Gaming Excellence, and you can see the loot bet odds on screen. That is surprisingly favourable, considering, you know, the last scoreline we saw for ESPADA. But if you want to take advantage of those odds, go to loot bet and go ahead and place the bet. You've got 10 free CSGO spins, 100 euros bonus deposit. ESPADA on the T-side pistol, already getting dinked down through mid. A Lion gets the headshot on the LAN and kicks things off for the CT side. With close range engagements that come through towards the lower tunnels, they have no idea. Finnegan's getting shot down for a 2K, and a Lion's going to swing for 3. 2 left standing. Sophic next up with the bomb. He's been seen, and the Lion is taking no prisoners. On for the ace against 7 HP of Patsy. He's 12 blood in the water, and he gets them all to open it up for WINSTRIKE.
Well, there we go. There we go. Coming out from a line. The goosh onto the first shot of Dexter, and just the follow-up. So many headshots coming through. Every single kill out for a line on WINSTRIKE. An ace to start it off in the pistol round. All headshots, all taps, all kills. And ESPADA, well, they can go home crying now, because, man, was that shut down in the pistol.
That's going to be a yikes for me. That did not... that was... Oh, that was decimation. And it's just like, what a way to carry momentum in from the last map, which was also decimation. You're just seeing a Lion now really come up and put some great numbers on the board. 5 frags to open it up, and it just made it look so easy as well, you know?
It's world-class players. They make plays look easy, and, well, I mean, just tapping his way with the USP. So much confidence. And for ESPADA, you've pretty much got to think that that confidence is gone. They're forcing into this second round, considering the fact they didn't get any bomb plant or any kind of kills, which is a little bit questionable. A lot of the time in a situation like this, you'd normally just see the Glocks coming out, but they want to try and force the issue.
Stickleback swinging, getting Dima down. Dexter takes the Lion back to a 4-on-4. 8 HP for Nickelback. Not going to be in the best of scenarios for this retake, since it might well have to be a retake. The bomb is going to make its way up to the site, get planted. Indeed, it does go down, but CT's bursting up. Bondit, Crizzen, and they all line up. I mean, actually, Crizzen gets a TK in the interim, but, you know. Patsy fall into the hands of Lackey, and that's going to be a good retake for WINSTRIKE. Money gained by the SMGs and such, but I don't think they should have lost to the bomb plant, you know?
Yeah, look, it's a bomb plant, it's something, but for ESPADA, they were obviously looking for a round victory there with the Force. Now, I hope the Force doesn't come again, okay? This always happens to us, Jay. It always happens to us. Whenever we don't want to see something, it is. Whenever we don't want to see something, it always comes out. They better make it work.
Yeah, they better. I mean, they better do something massive to try and figure this out. And at some point soon, they're going to have to get some rounds on this board, else we're going to start seeing them fall apart all the same. It is set to the lower tunnels. Up in for a Lion, sees one of the edges of smoke next to that head, speaks back in, can't quite catch Sophic, but he's done his damage. He can fall back out, another for Malta to take contact, and ESPADA to take short control.
At least with that AWP being played out towards mid, the T's can actually force him back into very passive positions and start to take this short control. But they're down a member, and the quick execution's coming through. Nickelback's got so much work to do, he can call for a little bit of assistance.
Started off right with an 8 on Dexter, and Dima and Crizzen lands the Eagles. He's also got pistols to work with, but Dexter trades it. He doesn't last long, neither does Finnegan. And WINSTRIKE there, only 1 casualty sustained. Most of the main weapons stay in play, including an AK for Lackey. And that sees a 3-0 start. Not even a bomb plant to consolidate it here for ESPADA.
This is quite the demolition site at the moment, Jay. It is the bulldozers, the drillers, you know, the cranes, you know, knocking everything down, because ESPADA have just not found anything. The 3-0 start coming out for WINSTRIKE. And you've got to think that this is even an opportunity to really start to build up the bank. Already the economy line's not fantastic, but if they can win out this round with 4 or 5 players staying alive, Deem is just sitting in the flames and taking a hell of a lot of damage.
Imagine that they'd landed deeper and then they just took him down straight up. That would have just been a waste of a peak. I don't understand why players do that as well. It's not very often. I don't see it very often, but you know, like when they do that, it's just like give up information and take a ton of damage. Like, what do you gain? What do you gain from that? 3-0. I'm probably going to make it to 4. AWP does see the first batch of players popping out of the short control. Might need some backup because these pistols could easily overwhelm the AWP. And indeed, Patsy takes a lion down. 5-on-4, kicking things off. Crizzen caught with utility in his hands. Got 2 players to line up. He also goes falling. They're very low on HP. M4 swings and Dima gets a kill. And they're falling back. Okay, that was reckless all the same from WINSTRIKE. Mistakes being made on both sides, but it is ESPADA that come out on top.
Deagles. They hit some phenomenal headshots there. And in rounds like that, you've got to think for WINSTRIKE, there's not a lot that they did wrong, except just get picked off and some really nice shots. And for ESPADA's sake, they pick up, well, at least 3 weapons. They've got an AWP out for Dexter to bring into the next round. They've got an M4. They should have another rifle to come through that I saw them picked up somewhere. There it is. So it's 2 M4s and an AWP. That's actually an exceptional round. ESPADA have got to be really happy with that because they've even struggled to get bomb plants, Jay. To win a round like that's huge.
That's a start at least for the T's. And obviously with even more coming through with those pistols, having to get value out of that last round, save weapons can build the economy state a little bit better. I think the CT set themselves up towards the long control. 4 players out there, 2 will take face eventually with the flashbangs over. Sophic, teammate siphoned off by a smoke, flashes in, they catch 1 player blind. He does fall at 25 HP, but that's an opener again for ESPADA.
Now that's what we need to see from the ESPADA side. Opening picks, getting some momentum, starting to build some confidence to get back in this series. And we see just the one-on-one face coming out between Sophic and Crizzen. Both players just really kind of out into the open. And even with that first pick out too long, it seems like ESPADA are kind of giving up that control rather than continuing it. Starting to smoke off Xbox and look like to establish a set piece into the B-bomb site.
5 seconds, and the team slowly take face up to the mid and short control. It's landing him in the bomb on his back. AWP firing away for Sophic. Flashes over, could catch them blind. Indeed, Nickelback swings in, gets that kill back to return to a 4-on-4. Alliance still watching for short control, lands that kill as Nickelback is traded, but a 3-on-2 with bomb control being established. Dexter with the AWP being scoped in. He's going to get heard by Lackey, who's also going to hear him jump out to the lower tunnels. Silence heard, flashes over, 25 seconds to the clock. And still a lion holds face. Lackey going to face forward and Dexter does catch him off guard. So AK recovered. And now 1 player per site. A lion knows this bomb's going to come through short if he's going to go towards A though. So he's ready to take face and take the shot down. He misses it out. Thrown off by the accuracy of the face. But 6 seconds, I think they're just about to get the time. Do they have the time for this? Wait a minute. Okay, they do. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, I tell you what, a line was set up perfectly to be able to take down that bomb and just immediately shut that round down, Jay. But as soon as he gets overwhelmed by the Deagle, it means Bondic's got to make a play. Now, with no money on the back, he's just going to save onto the AWP. They're going to be in a really weird economy basis. ESPADA probably getting away with a round they shouldn't have won there.
It's a second on the board. ESPADA now getting a much better stance here on Dust 2 as comparison to the last map, obviously. The lack of a buy that should come through from WINSTRIKE, the AWP, the only thing getting saved. boost up towards that short control and allow the pistols to start take some mid-aggressive. It's not going to be much contention towards the longhouse though, which is where ESPADA are leaning towards than default.
And Nickelback can get very aggressive, especially with the line holding this sight line towards that suicide position. They've just got to be look at that AWP to be the main brunt of the defense. Edema catching off the aggressive players out through B. This round's pretty much all but over. They're just waiting for the aggression. I'll tell you what, Nickelback overextends. He's going to be a dead man.
Only overextended a little bit, like a shoulder bait. The AWP shot's missing towards lower. Either way, ESPADA have maintained control with the two players picked apart towards the upper tunnels instead, aligned there with the AWP. Landing a shot off on Demo, so even despite not landing the kill shots, he's still doing a ton of damage. And Ops in, facing up, a Lion gets Finnegan, face up for the AK of Patsy, does get a Lion back down, looks towards the Gandalf area, spray through Manic, gets Crizzen next to Fort. And Nickelback left alone in a 1-on-4 situation. He's sitting in the middle of the smoke, actually. Could catch off a couple of players. There it is. They're in there. He's in their blind spot. Like, he has no idea. He's going to get stopped thick. Taps up, turn around to the bomb site. No, Dexter takes him down. So, good effort. And certainly a cheeky kill that they weren't expecting to concede. But 3 all on the board for ESPADA. They do manage to grind back to an even stance.
Yeah, that was a little bit cheeky. ESPADA now 3 in a row from them, looking at least to put up a pretty good contest so far on Dust 2. Now, with WINSTRIKE sort of very harsh eco in that last round, it means he'll be able to get the rifles through. It's not the best buy in the world. It's going to be a Fammer up for bonding. No AWP potential for a Lion, but they are taking this long control, something that this CT side hasn't done in the past, and immediately that's the opening kill, but the trade coming out, that's not what they were looking for.
Dima gets lucky. 2 for 1, all in all. All 3 CTs held out towards the long control, and the ESPADA side are going to realize this. They've Molotoved and smoked down the B site. The plant can come through. And WINSTRIKE just kind of left to lick their wounds in this one because they have been left out to dry. Very heavy stack from the CT side, and it does not work out for them. They just have to save their rifles.
Now, if you're trying to take long on the city side of Dust 2, what you'll normally expect is that you'll probably bring 4 players to long. You'll have 1 player quite sort of deep towards the side that can flash in, and 3 players to wide swing. And once you take control, that's when the CTs kind of fall back. But when you try and take long, you take 4 players there, so there's only going to be a single B defender, nothing out to mid. And as soon as there's contact out from long, and they trade out, and then Dima finds an opening at B, they just run out B. They go, right, it's open. This is going to be an easy round. And they're even going to go hunting, try and take these players down. How much can they find out of this?
Oh, Sop being dealt with by Nickelback. Bondi gets Dima as well, so that's damage done to the T-side line. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean much in the grand scale of things because you see the amount of money they've got on ESPADA. They've certainly built up the money line, and the economy is looking flourished here for the T's. And for the first time since the pistol round of Mirage, I want to say, ESPADA have a lead above WINSTRIKE. And you can have a lead above your mates in your inventory value by going over to our case partners at Hellcase, Malta V and Malta V15 to get yourself a bit of a head start. Free money and 15% refill bonuses for those respective codes. Only a Hellcase.com. Rifles out. Force back, half buy. Not sure what you call this from WINSTRIKE, but either way, they have got a little bit of firepower. Nothing by comparison to the ESPADA buy. They still make it work with the opening kill. If Finnegan chimes back in.
Just looking to try and do some damage here. Maybe see if they can get Nickelback to drop over an AWP for a line in the following round. Overextension from Crizzen and just some really great trading abilities. ESPADA are really coming into their own on this T side. They're looking so much more dominant than we saw from them in the entire Mirage. And it's great to see that they've come back in a strong way. In saying that, though, they still need to clear out this Goose position. 2-on-2. This is still favorable for the WINSTRIKE side.
Lucky still with the Deagle. How's he going to handle this? Flashes over to catch him off. He's going to try to go for the jumping shots. He's now open to the short position, but Bonnet's going to come in to support, and Dexter takes him down as Lucky falls all the same. So, nice effort from WINSTRIKE. And that was a half by all accounts. It was a bit of a weird one with some players on rifles and pistols, but it's enough to justify a full rifle round in the next round. That's what they'll go for here. For Mars, for Bondix, there's still some concessions being made on the CT half. A tactical pause to come through from WINSTRIKE as they try and shut it all down.
I like this. You know, take a pause and go, right, okay, yeah, we had a Lion that got an ace in the pistol, and then he started getting going. But outside of the big moments, all the controls pretty much been lifted. ESPADA have won 5 rounds in a row now. They're looking really dominant. They're getting individuals firing up. They're finding some really great opening kills. And they're finding trades. That's the big thing. Not only are they finding opening picks, but they're holding on to advantages for most of the round. And if I'm looking at anyone on WINSTRIKE to step up even further than they are already, it's got to be a Lion with that AWP. He's got to be the man to be able to bring this game back and get them involved in some sort of lead.
2 rounds to the difference here. WINSTRIKE getting up for their buy-up. ESPADA going again aggressive into the longhouse. Patsy followed by Dexter. Crism going to try flash out, get lucky with at least entry opportunity. Incendiary down against the AWP player. He burns the 43, swing out, and it is lucky to get the opening kill. Patsy to fall, a 5-on-4. And yes, there's a HP advantage of that one player, but man advantage for the CT side.
So far, so good for WINSTRIKE, but that Molly's going to force Bondic out into the open, and this B bomb site's opened up again. Demon's done so much work in taking down these B defenders time and time again in this first half, and you've got to think for WINSTRIKE, how can they even get their way back into the side?
Oh, that's been such a weak point as well, so consistently here on this map. WINSTRIKE falling away to save. What a disaster as well after they got such a good half play in the last round. So much damage done that could have severely crippled the buy going into the next round. But here they are just conceding and like, nah, we'll save our weapons. And again, they had a bit more B presence. They just had that one extra player there to find a trade or at least to hold some sort of position in the back line. That would be an opportunity. WINSTRIKE heavily favouring this longhouse control. And that's, you know, fair enough because ESPADA have done that for so many rounds in this half. But now they're changing up the pace. WINSTRIKE are the ones that need to adapt. Go back to a bit more of a common setup. Get some more B site control.
I think you're absolutely right. I think they need to go for a 2-1-2 split. The fact is, especially at this kind of a level, you don't really like playing 2 players at B. On the city side, but at the same time, when your B defenders is just getting destroyed by Dima every single round, Dima is opening up B, you've got to make an adjustment. You've got to at least bring a second player, even if it's a bit of a rotator between mid and B, whether it's like a line with the AWP that he's holding out through mid and then maybe be a quick rotator to B. There's got to be some sort of change because a lot of the time, you know, we sort of say, Jay, play your own game. But when you get to a point where you've lost 6 rounds in a row, stop playing your own game and adjust to what your opposition are bringing to the table.
Especially for WINSTRIKE, who all they have to do is play their own game and just win out the fights against ESPADA, they would have won this map. So hitting a bit of a brick wall at this stage, snagging the road for the CT camp, but here with the rifles back out and passive control. Not quite a 2-1-2 split, but more like a bit of a quick rotation that can come through and passive mid control outside of the mid door. A Lion still set towards short, and he's going to be the main man if they try and make their way in from that short position. If they cut off any splits or executes, that will come through. Sop being on a slow face. Scope out to try force him out of position. The Molotovs will come down, try catch a Lion off, and indeed it will force him back passive, but he still has angles to work with. The flash will actually be the thing that forced him off position.
He can start to relocate around ramp or that car position, but for ESPADA, it looks like they're backing off to this B bomb site once again. We've seen how much impact Dima's been able to find from entries. This time around, he's not really doing a lot of lurking in the upper tunnels. He's just waiting for an overextension, and this is going to be a B split.
"40 seconds, Sophic. Finnegan ready, flash over. No man advantage gain, so all it rests in this split is Lackey and Bondic. Got to get tight in on the B-bomb site. I think this is pretty advisable. They can cover off the AWP from the CT spawn there. Can't quite get his shots connecting, but he can go blind against it. Lackey's going to hold off from the tunnels area. The spray in from Dima and Sophic quickly deals with Lackey and Bondic, so despite their best efforts, despite the fact that they fell back to the bomb site, it just wasn't enough to control out Sophic, that BM. I mean, ESPADA have earned some level of it as a result. Oh, mate, come on. Mate, please.
I don't mind it, considering the fact that they've now won 7 rounds in a row. The B defense is so weak. It is so weak from WINSTRIKE. And they've just realized ESPADA go, right, okay, B's weak. Let's just hit B. and trying to go hunting. They've been able to do a lot of damage in the past in a lot of these hunt takes and to try and taking these CT players down. So much fire out towards the longhouse. Hardly doing any damage, but look, any kills they find is good. Deeks taking down a lion. Can they follow up with any more? Oh, Dima! That was so quick.
Nickelback left alone with the only rifle. As you mentioned, 7 rounds in a row for ESPADA. And you can see even the positioning on that mini-map there, how WINSTRIKE was just so A-present and how aggressive they were. It's like, you know, there's no adjustment to rotate back to the mid-control, leave the AWP there, or even M4 to support and have the AWP on the short control, for example. This time Lion is going to get towards mid, on the door, takes that first frag, sees the second player on the shoulder bay, but unable to get the kill for it. Sophic aggresses. Are they ready for this position? They have got ramp control, 3 players out. They're going to swing in from CT though, and Sophic just gets the frag back. Flashes over, bursts through from the M4A1 Essa Crisen, lines up ahead, drops a bomb as well. And that's a 2-for-1, but Patsy coming in from long, they're going to flank them both, and Nickelback struggles to deal with it. He gets that kill in the end, but 42 HP. Dexter gets a line towards the mid-control, and he turns on the Bondic as well. Running out of ammo on site is Nickelback, and Sophic comes up with the kill. Oh, this CT side has just fallen to pieces.
It's like an apple crumble, Jay. It just crumbles away. This is getting a little bit ridiculous now for the WINSTRIKE side on their map pick. Not showing up at all on this CT side, especially in the gun rounds. Really struggling. ESPADA, where was this for most of the day?
To be fair, it is T-side of Dust 2.
Yeah, that is
one half you'd expect the CIS side to do well on. It is the T side. How well that will hold over into the second half is yet to be seen. Of course, the last time these two teams played on it, WINSTRIKE had a ridiculous T side. So let's see how much stock this first half really does have. Out to the mid control. Dima and Patsy going to join Sophic. They flash their way up. Crisen with the Eagles. So close. He's going to get himself a kill. Damage done, but no second follow-up. Dima can find a trade back. Nickelback here. Edge of the slope. Couldn't land the shots on the tagged up individual. And the Caesar, the Bond, they're going to get heard. The tag and the footstep. Dexter gets that kill. And the pistols get overwhelmed here on the WINSTRIKE side.
And that could have been a bit cheeky from Bondic, but as soon as that flames touch him, they go, right, we know where he is. And 2 players left, Nickelback and Lackey. We saw Crisen just spamming away, completely blind. Could have been able to line up a few kills, but with no vision, it was only a bit of luck. And for ESPADA, they're just, well, they're all waiting. They're just waiting for overextensions. They can just start to make their way into the A-bomb site. And you've got to think, Lackey and Nickelback, maybe they can find one more kill between them, but it shouldn't be much more than that.
Oh, Lackey, good headshot on one, but now being spammed up here through the boxes. He goes down in the end. So Nickelback, 4 HP. And, oh, another good kill on the one player. Any more than this, and again, be a fantastic damage round. Doesn't quite work out, so, yeah, credit where it's due. But for ESPADA, they won't be sweating much damage here. They've got so much money they can probably afford to buy in the next few rounds to turn over the half. Another tactical coming in for WINSTRIKE here. They have got to win something. I think of a CT side, at least to get 5. I mean, they still got a chance for 6. I think that's very doable with what WINSTRIKE have brought to the table, but they've got to do better than what they're doing now.
Yeah, they do. I think 5 rounds, they can kind of sit there and go, it wasn't great. It was okay. It was a bit of a recovery. 3 or 4 is probably like, we're pretty much done. So 5, I would say, is minimum to allow a comeback to come through if they can get the pistol and sort of get some momentum in that second half. But look, they're trying something different. I mentioned on Mirage that always the opportunity of getting that secondary AWP onto Lackey. Even when they had the money, they didn't go for it. They've realized now on Dust 2, right, we've lost 9 rounds in a row. We need some sort of change up. Let's just get a double AWP going.
Back on Lackey to see if he can put some frags on the board. He's been a little bit low in terms of his numbers. Dexter taking the AWP challenge out to the A bomb site this time. Lackey's going to hold that mid control, and again, they're just going to leave one player to defend this B site. They need more presence out here. A Lion with the AWP on short gets Dima down, at least starts things off towards lower tunnels, but now you push the AWP back to the B bomb site because they know that there's tunnels control. They know that they've gone for these defaults and hits towards B site over and over again. The Lackey still holds mid face, misses his AWP shot, and now going to fall back to a pass position on the mid control and eventually to the B bomb site.
That's really not what you want from your secondary AWP, and a miss a shot like that to Sofix. And straight away, the reface coming in from Lucky is going to get denied. And, well, for ESPADA, things are looking decent. They're going to try and make their way into B. They've realized that the lack of defensive hold at this B bomb site, Bondic and Lion are going to work together. So it's all going to be down to Finnegan. And finally, Jay, finally, it looks like they're going to be able to shut it down to this B bomb site.
It has been 9 long rounds since we last saw a CT round go the way of WINSTRIKE. But even that looks so awkward. Again, with Lackey's positioning and his sort of like frag potential, he's certainly been the weakest player for me on the WINSTRIKE side so far. The double AWP setup didn't really do as much as it wanted to. A little bit of a waste of that weapon, but does get the M4 back for him, though. So 4 rifles across the board. AWP still in for a Lion. He's still playing back on the short, the long control, actually. The short control established by Nickelback instead with the AK. One of the only ones saved in from the last round. ESPADA set towards the mid control. 3 players out there, but no overly aggressive faces.
ESPADA slowing it down. I tell you what, these last few rounds, they haven't even bothered to take long control. They've pretty much just given it up for the city side almost every single round now. The Sofix spamming through. It's going to force Nickelback to play a little bit more defensive around that short position, and ESPADA slowly and slowly regaining this map control.
Flash for a Lion, trying to force Sofix back. Not able to get the kills. Nickelback facing in. Finnegan so close towards the doors. Nickelback's got to do so much from here. Hiding that cover, get ready to face. Oh! He pulls out his knife at the worst moment. And that's going to be timing on for the kill. They could line up, however, the M4 drops that bomb. Looks in for a second, gets it away as well. A Lion and the Chaos catches Sofix, a 3-on-2. And Bondic up on the scaffold. Now got to look towards plat position. No idea he's there. And Dima heard the footstep, but didn't get away with the frag. Flashes will catch them blind temporarily. Smokes down, but a Lion catches the bomb partner. Dima left alone. 3 players to line up. He'll swing in, get a kill, but no more than that. A Lion with 3 to step up for WINSTRIKE and bring them kicking and screaming into the 15th round.
He's stepping up massively. Nickelback,
that was so unnecessary. So unnecessary as well.
We see it so often though, right? It's just that habit of switching between your rifle and your knife, and the timing is just terrible. It's absolutely terrible. At least Lucky's able to trade with a couple of kills. We see a great hold from a Lion. And 5 on the board. WINSTRIKE looking for their 6th AWP of Sofix. Not going to burn alive. That molly doesn't go deep enough.
The nade does though, and Sofix lands the frag. Refaces, doesn't get the second kill. 1 HP, meanwhile, gets away alive. Just. Family man advantage here for the C side camp. Flashes in against Nickelback. He's going to get forced out of CT spawn. Smoke down, flashing against him. Could catch him for even more blind damage. He peeks forward. Gets one awkward spray. Just barely gets the second. Bondic holds on to control to back him up. And Patsy gets tagged up as he gets that kill back away. 2-on-2. And Chrism with a backstab will get Patsy next. Sophic on 1 point of health. Got to land 2 good AWP shots to try and bring 10 for ESPADA.
Oh, 1 HP. It's going to be a little feather that touches him to take him down. Do they expect the backline play, though? Both players are out through mid, and no one's watching behind. Good shot coming out from Sofix, but now Lucky knows where he is, and they must know how low he is.
And maybe they don't. 1-on-1 for the AWP, though. But this will be the most insane clutch if he pulls it off. Bomb still out in the open, and Lucky's going to reposition out towards the lower mid position, lower tunnels, I should say. Going to upper to try and catch off this AWP player, Sophic. The more noise he makes, the more chance that Lucky can catch a bit of information onto it. Now he's leaning in towards CT. Up round the corner, Lucky gets the headshot and just holds the round here for WINSTRIKE. Very awkward on CT, but again, CT sides are the worst sides on Dust 2. Now WINSTRIKE move to their favored half here. Will they be able to replicate their T-side performance by comparison here? We'll have to find out, obviously. They won on T-side from a 9-6 up position. And the last time they faced off against each other over in WePlay. So Time to reverse the stakes, reverse the order.
Ooh.
Reverse the... Oh, I'm pretty sure it's still the wrong way around. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I
No,
can see it
makes
sort
sense.
of.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's... Okay, we're getting confirmation that they are the right way around. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I can see that. All right. Fair play. Our partners at Loot Bet certainly believe that ESPADA are on the right track to take control. We saw how dominantly WINSTRIKE won that last pistol, and they'll try to do the same here. Pistols out for Patsy, dealt with by Lucky Team, last man standing, desperate for a kill. He gets 1 and 2 headshots, but Bondic trades back to 3-on-3, gets a double up of his own right, and secures the B-bomb site.
Oh, look, that was just rush. Absolute rush into B. Even the utility was late. The smoke and the flashes was so much later before contact was already being made. And the retake coming in from ESPADA, and it's pretty much all but done now. And Deekster, last one left, 1-on-3, and even getting gooshed up. 10 points of health. He's pretty much done. Probably try and save this kit and armor into the following round. And WINSTRIKE, well, we said that if they got at least 5 rounds, you know, it would be enough potentially for a comeback if they can get off to the right foot. And it looks like they have from the pistol, Jay.
ESPADA will not be able to get away with much in this one. WINSTRIKE, a nice confident pistol again to find themselves on with a decent shout here. A nice 7th to close it out. Get themselves started on T side again. This is where they want to go with this one. Good shots from Dima at least, but this made it feel like it was going to be close at least for ESPADA for a moment.
Yeah.
In the end though, goes the right way of the T side. Forced back from ESPADA, scouts in, and Dexter just misses his chance on a lion and suicide. Back up from T spawn, and the shot's not quite connecting still.
Oh, they're both trying to have a bit of a good go from one another. Who's going to land the shot first? The scout battle out to mid, but the force buy coming in for the ESPADA squad. No real aggression on this CT side. To be fair, though, we didn't really see too much aggression coming out from WINSTRIKE in that first half. It was pretty passive for the most part. Not really too many sort of flank and over-aggressive plays. But you've got to think for WINSTRIKE, the more that they can close the gap in the rounds, the more confidence they'll have to play with. Ooh!
Good shot. Not a great follow-up, though. Nickelback gets that kill. 4-on-4 situation. The Pistols desperately trying to look for something to return. Bomb will get picked up. Possibly pushed into the mid and lower tunnels control. 45 seconds. The wraparound comes into the long house. Crizin. Galil set, scout shot connecting, doing some damage. Crizin going to get tagged up with a deagle instead. Chances are available for the CT camp as they do trade back the 3-on-3. Scouts still in for Dexter and 2 so low. Nickelback going to be their first facer, but the shot misses out, and that was the short control. Finnegan and Sopfik. One Galil picked up, seeing Nickelback at that cross in the smoke. Deagle's getting closer and closer. AK does not see the player on site. Nickelback dangerous for a moment. It's Finnegan, the man that gets that kill. Bomb being dropped as well. 10 seconds. They can win this off timeout alone. Finnegan facing. Bondic desperately needs to get that kill. And they've done it. Sopfik's running for his life to secure the round for ESPADA. Oh, that was disastrous for WINSTRIKE.
Oh my goodness. How do you let that happen? How do you let the time run so low? And the CTs waste so much time on that bomb site. Oh my goodness, WINSTRIKE. I can't believe they lose that. Ah, that's disappointing. That is very disappointing. ESPADA, what a sensational hold. Even the basis to go right. They're running out of time. Let's just fall back. They're not going to have enough time to plant, and that's exactly what happens.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. That is very discouraging for WINSTRIKE, I want to say. Of course, forced to fight back and force back. And the AK is in, saved off the back of no time, no money bonus, no loss bonus to stack up to a second, and then eco off the back of that. But for ESPADA, they'll get real close to that match point, or that map point, I should say, WINSTRIKE. Still up by 1 in this series, so they had a bit of a buffer, but Dust2, based on that first map, was there to lose. 45 seconds to the hit towards B site is where they'll look to play for here. SMG is cross-firing. Bonding just going to slow face in with his teammates. Flashes are there to try and support it. They're going to try to look for Finnegan. Finnegan drops in, gets that kill. Demon X around the corner. Incendiary to force him forward. Alliance not checking it. Nickelback does find 1 frag back, but 2-on-4 gain, making it 1-on-4 as Sopby gets prison.
Oh, he's just got to save. He can't do anything now. They've got no money. ESPADA, after winning that anti-force, the anti-eco rounds, they've just set themselves up so nicely now. Nickelback needs to make sure that he's surviving. He can't get taken down here. Very smart, actually, to smoke off the mid-cross. You can cross, like, undetected by sort of poking your head down and sort of crouching underneath, but it takes a fair bit of time, and he knows that there was a backstab coming through. Oh, he doesn't hold on to it.
No!
Oh, you don't like to see that. No money, no AK.
That. Oh, just. Like, 2 rounds in a row dying after time. Or 2 rounds in a row, like, you know, after time, no money. You just destroy the economy of WINSTRIKE. Yeah, they had the AK saved him from the last round, so in that respect, if Nickelback was able to keep control, he would have been able to hold something. But the fact that he lost that, as you mentioned, worst case scenario for WINSTRIKE right here. SMG does run into the stack. They'll know that the B site is under siege, or at least that's what they'll think. Just finding that 1 kill on the stack up, and no further aggression.
I'm just ready for the PP Bison, Jay. This could be the meat grinder right here. Let's see how many kills come through with the PP for Softfix. 1 only. No! Oh, this actually is turning out quite nicely for WINSTRIKE.
Well, Lackey took his own teammate down, so 3-on-3. Careful placement, careful plays. 2 SMGs. An opportunity. Will it maintain control? 55 seconds. Dexter waiting towards that mid position. Saw 1 crossing, saw a lion as well. Getting down and forced out of the way. Suddenly might all be left to Patsy on the A site control. Galil standing. Got not a lot of Kevlar to try and deal with here. Incendiary is up, still trying to take face in the open. SMG's burst through. Bond's getting tagged up pretty heavily. 1 player swings out from long control. Now he's distracted. Now he's dangerous. Now he's susceptible to a kill or 2, but Dexter comes in to support it, and they just maintain control.
Okay, that was looking a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's still around victory from ESPADA. You've got to think things are looking relatively smooth. You're up 12-7. You've got the opportunity of breaking the money line again. There's hardly any money in the reserve to come out from WINSTRIKE. Now, Nickelback bought a scout to chuck it over for a line and gets an AK in return. So he was the one with the lowest amount of money on that T side. And WINSTRIKE, you've got to think, this is, if they want to come back, this is the chance right here. They need to win this round going into round 20.
WINSTRIKE beat ESPADA 16-6 on Mirage. Are ESPADA going to be able to turn the tables on their opponent's map pick at 16-7? It all kind of rests in this round, and WINSTRIKE, they've only got so much to work with. Yes, AK's out for 4, but the scout for a line is going to be the main concerning thing. Very good scout shooting from him in the first map, but in general, WINSTRIKE just looked pretty switched off the second.
Yeah, they really do. It sort of seems like they don't know what's hit them going into Dust 2. And found it really difficult to even be able to find the 7 rounds that they did, and 3 of them came off the back of a great start. They've won both pistols in Dust 2. ESPADA, even this AWP from Dexter, it's going to be really difficult to try and force him off the angle. Slowing it down 50 seconds, they don't really have a lot of options other than committing up through short.
You know, that short control, the CTs are only just starting to adjust against it. When aggressive, they could find their way on, but nades up, smokes down. Sophic trying to find a way to work in. They're going to try to split their way in towards the B side. This is all a ruse. They get Finnegan for one. Sophic on an open angle to try to shut them down. Gets swung upon by Lackey. Dima following up with a kill. Aligning as a headshot with a scout. And the bomb can make its way up. Dexter left alone. 1 on 3. And it looks like WINSTRIKE will just be able to secure the round.
That's more like it coming out for the WINSTRIKE side. They fake up towards short. It honestly didn't look like they were setting themselves up for a B play, but as soon as that re-smoke comes in through short, they go, right, we've just used util. We have to wait behind the smoke. Let's just commit to mid to B. A very fast flick in the terms of the calling. They go out for mid to B. They don't have a smoke for CT. The trades are fantastic. The entries are even better. And WINSTRIKE are going to be able to claim their 8th. They just sort of annihilated that defense at the B-bomb site.
$12 still for ESPADA, so there's still quite a bit of distance to make up, and for them to take a next round right here could still turn within touching distance of the map points. Double ops back in with Dexter and Finnegan. When Lackey brought this out for WINSTRIKE, it wasn't exactly a very good setup for ESPADA. It's a very different story. And they're trying to take a line here with the mid face and an AK-47. No orbs to contest with on the T side. Damage being done. Definitely doesn't help that factor, but for now it's very passive control. Expecting ESPADA to aggress outside of the mid and longhouse positions, also in the upper and lower tunnels. But no CT wants to bear their fangs.
A very heavy mid stance coming out from the CTs just behind the mid doors. A flash comes in. This could potentially try and blind everyone. Finnegan's so blind, and so is Sophic's. Easy kill coming through, and well, they line up. They even line up for a TK again. We have seen so many bloody TKs today, Jay. What is going on?
Only the CIS teams today. Only the CIS teams. Flash over or peek in, and that TK could cost them a lot more here. Dima with a frag back up towards window. Malta trying to force him out. They'll hear him take damage, and he'll fall out of position, but can't land the orb shots blind. He'll try his best, but the plant will be secured. 3 on 3 for the retake here. And they are stacking up to look above the door. I didn't even know that was a gap that existed, but I don't think Nickelback's in a position where they can exploit it. Actually, hold the phone. If he pops his head up, they're going to take him down. The spray goes awkward, and he gets away alive and lucky.
And, well, that boost only now exists where the doors are flipped. And what is going on with the calls there? What? Why is Dexter flying through?
I think he just assumed his teammates were behind him. They were going for the retake off the back of that kill.
That's...
They've already called in for the retreat, though. They were already falling back. That was miscommunication that will cost ESPADA in that one. But still, well held and well predicted. That's one for the matchmaking, strategy guide. I didn't know that existed. I didn't think it was possible.
And now they're forcing off the back of these rifles. Like, why did they not hold on to that third rifle? They saved in double orbs. God, it just tilts me so much, man. When you make simple mistakes like this at a very high level in Tier 2 Counter-Strike, that should never happen. And this is the opportunity for WINSTRIKE to really come back. What? That did not hit. That's a tag instead.
I don't think it was that. That was
no, it wasn't actually. No, you're right.
It's Nickelback that got the early chance for a spawn, or got a good spawn for the early chance towards long.
Okay.
So I don't know how that happened, but it happened. Still not got a lot here for the double orbs to make work. You know, just those two main weapons are really what they have to work with on the CT side. The FAMAS's, SMGs, Nickelback does connect that one frag. Lackey spotted behind Xbox here towards the lower tunnel. Smoke out, trying to buy Demon some cover to escape. He's doing damage, and eventually Lackey connects that headshot. So 5 on 3, and ESPADA 2 players down.
It was only going to be a matter of time until Dima was going to die. He was getting spammed by 2 different players, knowing exactly where he is. There is a lot of damage done to both Nickelback and Lackey and Finnegan. Well, this is being rare. This should be an easy kill. And this round's pretty much all but over. This B-bomb side's pretty much opened up. It's the double orb still in play. But even trying to hold on to these double orbs and bring it into the next round, that's not going to be an easy challenge.
Yeah, no, especially they get swung on by the high HP players. They got flashbangs to enable kills. Patsy's going to look for one out here towards lower tunnels. He does catch that player off. Best for Lucky to recover that AK and bring it into the next round. Nickelback also takes an aggressive face. So now they know where the last two CTs are at. Surely at this point they should go for a bomb site here. Flashes over. Patsy's going to get forced back out position. AWP watching as flashes go over. He runs right into the hands of Kristen. He's completely blind. Patsy gets the frag. And 2-on-2, this might still be possible. But Lucky gets the frag back. Bomb pump. Oh no! Something swung! They've stolen it! They've stolen it again! WINSTRIKE! What's going on?
How? Like this duel, how does Chris not win that fight? And Patsy does so much work in denying the time that they have to plant in the open for short. They don't have time to get it for a safe plant. This is twice now that ESPADA have done that in one map. Oh my goodness, the tilt factor must be through the roof for WINSTRIKE.
I mean, I'm tilted watching it. Can only imagine what it's like for them to server, especially as they can't force picks out long 2-for-1s. As Sophic and Dexter find the kills, AWP towards the mid swing as well through doors. WINSTRIKE. Someone's got to get it together for this team. You look so good on Mirage. And here on Dust 2, should have been theirs.
Yeah,
still
should have been.
A lot of work to do.
And it's honestly like ESPADA had picked Dust 2 and WINSTRIKE did pick Mirage. I mean, this is just ridiculous. ESPADA have been able to clutch out so many big rounds and make some monstrous plays. And yeah, I suppose you can say, you know, that maybe that's the reason why WINSTRIKE haven't been able to close out the distance further. But at the same point, you need to be making the big plays if you want to win games. Out to the B bomb site. This round's pretty much all but over. 2-on-3. What can they really do? If they take down the B defender, then maybe there's a chance. But Nickelback's alone.
Yeah. Crimson focusing on the CT spawn to try and cut off any rotations. Nickelback slow facing in. Might catch Finnegan actually. He's got a good angle onto him. He takes that frag, but now needs to plant. Now needs to just secure a plant right here. Get the bonus money for WINSTRIKE. It's a moment to plant it. Sophic swings out, forces him off. Can't win the fight. No bonus money for you. And WINSTRIKE's lost bonuses in the toilet as well. Oh my god, this has just been a disaster from this T side.
Yeah, this is so surprising. After seeing what WINSTRIKE brought to the table on Mirage, it looked like Dust 2 was a far-gone conclusion for ESPADA, but, well, it looks like both teams are going to be able to win out each other's map picks, 14-9 up. The force buy coming in from WINSTRIKE rather than just glocking it out to get a buy up, going in and playing for OT. They want to try and take the force. They want to try and take the fight. They want to see if they could just relieve some pressure.
WINSTRIKE absolutely need to win this round if they want to win Dust 2. Patsy gets Crizin and Lion makes his way out of dodge. Drops that bomb, scouts out looking for players up here towards the car position. Tags that one, tags that second, but Sophic gets the frag for it. So WINSTRIKE 5-on-3 scenario, and Demon's going to get boosted up towards the bomb site, just ready to receive anyone that comes out of the long control. There are no rifles outside of that scout to work with for the T-side camp. It's just like, where do you go from here?
Yeah, probably just go to overpass. You don't really go far. They've done damage onto Patsy and Sophic, but it's a 3-on-5 disadvantage. WINSTRIKE just need to win out some unbelievable duels. And even the information coming through, the CTs have started to press up from the upper tunnels. They've cleared out short, so they have to know it's got to be a long play.
Nades on Dima, Patsy burst in with the SMG, takes out one frag. Nickelback can finally chime in, but the M4 still there. 4-2 mop-ups. Map point for ESPADA on Dust 2. And who would have thought that based off of how well Mirage went, ESPADA would be in prime position to take this map? Who would have thought after the outclassing that WINSTRIKE brought to the table on map 1, it's ESPADA returning the favour in map 2?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought? It is an unbelievable feat to come out from ESPADA. And they're really showing us the team that we want to see from them. Showing up in a massive way on Dust 2. But they've got one more hurdle, and it's just going to be a single round. That's all they need.
Orbs out here to the mid-control. Dexter's going to get out of dodge, get some distance between him and the mid-door. And obviously this force back from WINSTRIKE. Sopvik's got the AK. Incendiaries as well from him and Dexter to try force them back. Outnades there in standing. So whatever they try and get, there should be a pretty decent counter coming through from the CT cap.
Oh, Bondi gets taken down. He's the lurk over at that B bomb site. So immediately when he goes down, there's not really an opportunity to go for that mid to B split, because a lot of the time, if you try and fake out through short, commit up through the mid to B, you need that lurk at the B bomb site to pull distractions over. They're going to try and commit in through short.
Oh. Nades on, 2 players tagged. AWP and Dexter. Domes a lion. And flashes in from the T side to try and enter forward. There's going to be another peek from Dexter. Another kill for Dexter. 2 left standing, completely unscathed across this entire CT board. Patsy gets 1 frag. Crizzen left alone to go down all the same. 16-9 to ESPADA after that first map on Dust 2. They're going to go to a third map, Dwayne, and I'm honest, if I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked. I am genuinely shocked that turned out the way it did.
ESPADA came into their own, and you've got to think for WINSTRIKE, it only seemed like they had little brief moments where they were in control, winning a few rounds here or there. They looked good, and then they lost it. They never really got that big streak of rounds together, and I think that's really where ESPADA came into their own right. We saw them, win 9 rounds in a row at some stage. They looked very dominant. They had individuals stepping up. They made big plays. There were 2 or 3 rounds, especially in that second half, where you look at it and think there's no way they should have won that. That should have been an easy round for the WINSTRIKE side. But it is what it is, and we're going to a third map because of it.
I've got nothing else to add at this point, mate. Like, I just... Overpass is our third and final map. The last time these 2 teams played it, it did go the favor of the ESPADA side. So maybe another chance to return back off an early start for WINSTRIKE, and certainly a chance to return off the back of a very awkward start in the day and in this series. So we'll go to a break, and we'll see whether or not they can do it after this. Do not go anywhere. Overpass, our last map of the elimination best of 3 is coming up after this. Welcome back to Malta Vibes. Welcome back to WINSTRIKE versus ESPADA. We're into map 3 overpass of this best of 3 series. Somehow, by some miracle, I think ESPADA prayed to the heavens above and somehow managed to pull out Dust 2 from what seems like their arse at this stage. 16-6 went Mirage, and then 16-9 went Dust 2 to the favor of ESPADA, which leaves us here in this position. And it's opposing teams' map picks as well. Such a dominant affair from WINSTRIKE over on map 1. Looks so switched off for map 2. So how the hell do you weigh up map 3 at this stage?
You throw the scales away and you break it in half. There is no way. There's no weighing up to do here, Jay. It's like, how can you, right? You go into overpass and you go, well, who's going to perform better? And you really don't know, because both teams, it seemed like there was a light switch. It was off for the first map, on for the second, or vice versa for either team. That's all it really came down to.
I just don't even know what to say anymore. Like, I thought this was going to be a tidy 2-0, would be done by now, but no. Like, this is still happening. We're still on a third map in this series, and despite the best efforts, you know, like Alliance slipped off a little bit, but not so much as some of his teammates. Dexter was certainly still performing for his own rights. So at least they got their consistency for their top fragger over on the ESPADA side. And the only thing I can really pull from is map statistics here. Overpass has been played between these two teams before. Again, as I mentioned in the last series, they played against each other on it. It went to 16-14 to the favor of ESPADA. And this is not a great map for the likes of WINSTRIKE of their own right. They've got a very small win percentage on it. On 5 maps played, they've won it once. 2 of those maps were against ESPADA. They lost 16-14 last time, 16-9 the time before that. So they've already got a pretty good basis for ESPADA taking this series right here. But based on the way they've been performing today, like they had a very monster, disastrous opening 2 maps, and then the third one, somehow they looked like they were ready to go. I don't know how to describe it or how to look at it from that perspective, just because it's just so... It's so random, I feel like, of which team we're going to see in the server. Because for ESPADA, if WINSTRIKE looked at the WINSTRIKE that we saw on Mirage, we wouldn't be here right now.
You know, like, is it like the Magic 8 ball? You know that little like ball, and you shake it, you're like, am I going to win? Oh, maybe. Like, that's really what it comes down to, because the best one, we really didn't see...
You couldn't even give a definitive answer to that. It had to be a maybe.
Well, it is, because, like, no one really knows. Like, I would even say between the teams, they don't really even know. Neither of these teams are going to come into Overpass saying, right, this is going to be easy, because there is no way that this is going to be an easy last map of this series.
Well, WINSTRIKE at least do get the... No, sorry, that's the ESPADA on that side, my bad. The names are swapped. There you go, that's better. It's the ESPADA, the ones that get the knife choice. I'm assuming they're going to go on CT side for this map up. Both teams have a CT basis, so a reminder to you all that Malta Vibes is brought to you by Gaming Malta, a home of gaming excellence. In association with our betting partners at LootBet, which the odds have evened out because they themselves don't know how this one's going to end out. I mean, it's a respectable opinion to have in this final map of the series. But of course, you know, we'll take advantage of those odds. There's 10 free CSGO spins and €100 bonus deposit if you go to the banner under the Twitch channel and go to our betting partners at LootBet. It's pistol round, double flash and smoke for Crimson. Flash out for Lucky. I think he's probably got a pistol dropped out to somebody else here. Meanwhile, the double flash and defuse for Selfpick and WINSTRIKE go very early into the B side setup. Outside a monster, but passive as anything.
ESPADA, though, they want to start to get a bit of information. They're aggressing out through short, and at the moment for WINSTRIKE, they are ready for this. If the overextension goes even further, this should be a couple of kills. Steamer getting 2. Can he line up any more? He can't really fall back, but the trades have gone out fantastically. The bomb being dropped, a line the last one left, and aggression from the CT side works out fantastically. That flash was perfect.
Indeed it was. It's what brought them the whole round here. And that's a big, big win for ESPADA to take. Start things off against WINSTRIKE. Patsy shuts out Alliant. That's a start again for the ESPADA camp to get things kicked off on the CT half. Dominant. Very dominant there with Dima getting all the frags of his own right. And all the rifles back in now for 3 individuals of the CT camp. No bomb plants. WINSTRIKE going for a force buy back here in the second round. Pistols in. Quite a fair amount of utility, actually. Could go for a pistol execute and potentially go for a bomb plant. But WINSTRIKE going to play out these defaults initially, try and pick apart some of these rifles first.
Oh, I like the pressure coming out from ESPADA, and it looks like it's only going to continue into that second round. Very, very up in your face. looking to take some very early map control already out towards this playground position. They've pretty much seen absolutely nothing. Sofix could get a little bit of information, and, well, he's heard the footsteps, and he's at least seen a couple of players.
Lucky Alliance tagged up. Nickelback is the man to get the kill. Flashbang in from the CT player that's out there, held out in park. And the scout of Degster going to get overwhelmed a little bit. Sopvik trying his best to stay alive, and indeed he does get Nickelback to fall. Gets a Lion next up for a double, so 2 versus 4 scenario left for the T-side camp. Crizzen picking up the M4, swinging out with a Deagle, desperate to get Sopvik down. He finds that 1 kill, but now to pick up the bomb and try to find anything more for this. A plant would be nice, but I don't think he's fending off the retake.
Yeah, look, this is going to be a tough one coming out from Crizzen, and things looked pretty good coming out for WINSTRIKE. They got some pretty decent trades, but Sofix, he did so much work for him to find 3 kills with that MP9, and in the end of the round, there's no much more that Crizzen can do. Taken out from the scout, so a second round, a conversion going the way of ESPADA, and I'm actually kind of glad that we're seeing these 4 spies not being victories, because certainly over the course of today on the B stream, Jay, we have seen a lot of those sort of like anti-eco 4 spies being won.
He's going to come through here for WINSTRIKE. Flash for a Lion just to enter them into a push, perhaps. Molotov's down already. Bonding's just going to take that damage. And the Flashers will come over to get them out of T-Con. Maybe might overwhelm Patsy or Sopvik. Sopvik swings in. The flashbang completely evaded. They do get 2 picks back with the SMG. So money certainly being gained. And Nickelback frags back to a 3-on-3. They also realize there's a chance that Sopvik's also pushed up here. So if they can get that next player down. Indeed, Nickelback does damage, but doesn't get the frag. CT's also closing on the back line of the Lion. There with a nice $600 kill to take this player out. He gets him in the end. Got a turnaround 180, however, because Dima has control. The bomb has been picked up, so they won't get that much here for ESPADA.
Oh, they've seen the backstab, though, coming out for Dima. And I tell you what, ESPADA are continuing this aggression time and time again. All 3 rounds that we've seen so far in Overpass, it has been very much in your face. And I tell you what, WINSTRIKE can probably be pretty happy with that. They're trying to keep the economy as low as possible. In saying that, though, pretty much all the kills that ESPADA have found are with those MP9s and the SMGs.
A lot of money built up, but the buy is still going to heavy invest here for ESPADA. They'll get the main rifles out, full sets of utility across the entire board. For Mars, for Dima, it's not going to be ideal. Finnegan could drop him a rifle if he wanted to. He's going to opt against that, though, to keep the economy in a decent state. So WINSTRIKE have the buyback hit. Ops in, AK's out. Long aggression to come through. So again, they look towards the T-Con lane. It's flashes over as Patsy holds face outside of the stairs area. A Lion takes face, and Patsy gets the kill on Lackey. Degster aggressed as anything, so WINSTRIKE don't have many options to work with.
This AWP, rather than falling back, is continuing the aggression. Degster's just waiting for some sort of opening opportunity. Ow, what a shot coming out from a Lion. And that's a great answer back from WINSTRIKE after losing the opening pick.
Sopvik facing. Bonding drops off the stack up. It's taken back by Patsy at least, so there's 3-on-3. Gaining underpass and connector control. Meanwhile, Finnegan swings out from short, gets Crizzen down. WINSTRIKE letting ESPADA pick them apart. They need to come up with some confidence soon, because they are losing control of this map in the very early stages. 50 seconds to the hit. They have got Monster. Can lean into the B-side play, but I have a feeling Patsy heard those footsteps, so he's rotating to try and support.
ESPADA just need to make sure they're holding on to this man advantage. They've done really well to get this 3-on-2. They've got a player, Patsy, very far pressed up in through the connector position. And Dima dropping down from heaven to try and see if he can defend out of this B bomb side. He's going to really be alone. It's going to be a quick rotation, though, coming out from his teammate at Finnegan. But they need to get a move on because they're running out of time.
Going to get up on the railing. WINSTRIKE out to the default position. A Lion lands Finnegan's head. 2-on-2. AK swings, and again, they drop that bomb at the last second. The Lion being so close, time's ticking. He hears Dima gets that shot off, but he's got to get right back to the bomb, get it planted immediately. No time to find cover. And it's going to be a swing from Patsy that wins out the round anyway. 4-0 with 4 picks for Patsy. Very well played from him in this round.
And you know what, we haven't really spoken too much about Patsy. He hasn't really had too many big rounds so far in this series, but you know, he's very young, only 16 years old on this ESPADA side for pretty much all of this year. He's been able to put up some decent performances, and that round right there, that was huge from him. That was probably the biggest round we've seen from him today.
Right out. The AWP for Dexter, of course, the M4 reserved for Patsy at this stage, and the force back from WINSTRIKE, knowing they've got the economy pretty limited for ESPADA. But it carries its own risks here. They could be on basic ecos once again for the mid-stage of the half. It's a spray through from Dima that Crizzen is able to win out. 4 points of health, though. One extra bullet that could have gone a very different way. Finnegan swings, lines up 2, takes them both down. So ESPADA still find the trade, still find the player advantage in the end.
Finnegan, so much work. The rotations are so quick to this B bomb site. WINSTRIKE, there's no real way that they can actually back off to go A now. They've committed to B. They have to continue this presence. And ESPADA, they're so aggressive. They put themselves so deep into the site, rotating off of A. And WINSTRIKE are even struggling just to find some picks. There's so many smokes down.
Sotfik, close with the flashbang. Almost got him around the corner into the SMU's position. Dexter gets a lion. 2 left standing. 1 trade has come through from Bond. Look at Finnegan next. Patsy gets that frag, and now it's all left to Lackey in a 1-on-3. Bomb dropped on the T-Ram. Got Patsy to face. Burst through. Damage done. 5 points of health. He's got no chance in this one. It's 5-0 for ESPADA instead. And the CT control is just looking pretty clean here.
You know when you ring someone, Jay, and they just don't pick up the phone? That's kind of like what's happening here for WINSTRIKE. They're just being left. Like, they're just left on the line. No one's there. And it's 5-0 up for ESPADA. This is looking very dominant. The defensive holder, B, WINSTRIKE, they'd found an opening pick. You should have thought from there they could just run into the site. They can get that bomb down, play the post button. They can't even get the bomb down. They can't even get deep into the site. Look at the damage that's been done to Lackey. Why is he running through 2 Molotovs?
I mean, I guess he made it out there in the end, but unless he lands that first Deagle shot, he is not getting away with anything. He even went passive at the end of it. At that stage, you've got to run straight into long and look for a Deagle. Like, at that point, you've got to look for a 1-dig, and I mean, it's a half by eco, so yeah, I can't fault it too much because WINSTRIKE probably weren't expecting to win this round anyway, but either way, just mistakes being made that cost them on Dust 2, and it will cost them here on Overpass.
I'm so glad we're really seeing like proper ESPADA. Now, it's still quite a distance, I think, from what we saw from them in the previous months, Jay. But after what we saw from them in the first Best of 1 and the first map in this series, they've really started to come alive. They come into their own. They're trading really nicely. They're looking dominant. They're looking confident, which is often one of the biggest elements that if you lack in confidence, it's very difficult to win out rounds. And they're looking to put themselves up at a 6-0 lead. That would be just immense in a last map in a Best of 3.
Eagle Lackey standing, and Sotfik takes him down. Nades up to try and do some damage to T-side players here in the bathrooms. They'll burst up, smoke on, continuing from Dexter to try and suppress and hold these 2 players popping up. Stopper just against Nickelback. Refaces the second pick back. The M4 here as Sotfik is going to get overwhelmed by the pistols, so there's that much coming through, but now with long control established, the gap's being spoiled out by Bondic. Crizzen looks for the bomb plant. Bondic does get Dexter, aka Patsy swinging on 2 more though, so all left to a lion. Thema gets the frag, and the AWP gets recovered for a 6th for ESPADA.
Okay, look, that's not bad from WINSTRIKE. They're able to get a bomb plant, so there's at least something to work with. And that's their first bomb plant on Overpass, which is a bit of a worrying sign. And we saw Dexter hitting a fantastic opening AWP shot, but not being able to follow up. Even the M4 of his teammates struggling of Sofix. Great shot to start things off. We need to see more from that of Dexter. More consistent, I think. Rather than just hitting the difficult shots, consistency is key for me, especially in a map like Overpass on the city side, AWPing.
WINSTRIKE For a fast B play, it seems. I mean, Lion setting up I think a Heaven Smoke.
Heaven Smoke, yeah.
Flash is coming out. Here they go. AK's close for Finnegan. They're all completely blind, though. He does get overwhelmed alongside Dexter going down to 5 versus 3. Still one player with Foxy barrels. No one's checked this. He only gets the 1 kill. The plant can be secured 4 versus 2. WINSTRIKE seem like they're going to get a confident round finally on the board, but that took so long to take here.
I was wondering when the rush was going to come out. I wasn't thinking that it was going to come out in that round, but they just go straight for the B-site execution, the fast Heaven Smoke, rather than your slower one out from the short position. And they just run in. They just absolutely rush that B bomb site. We see Lucky and Krisen getting some really great openings. Yeah, they didn't check the Toxic Barrels player, and in the end it was only Nickelback, or Demo I should say, only finding 1 kill. And that's the response. WINSTRIKE. They need to make sure that, Jay, that they've won a great round, but the follow-up, that's where they've struggled a lot in this matchup.
We start for WINSTRIKE, and you can start to build up your skin collection over on our case partners at Hellcase. Malta V and Malta V15 are your special codes to get some free money and free 15% refill bonuses. Only on hellcase.com, the website. Open some sick cases, get some sick skins. AWPs expecting a 4-man boost. Nickelback. The man to hold down that control and set up the utility to try to force him off that heaven position, but Dexter is so ready to try and counteract the AWP of a Lion. I don't think he's watching that presence anymore. He is actually keeping his eyes on, so bit of a wasted moment, but now as they realize the short controls come through, they'll realize there's no point in checking it. Dexter gets a Lion. Frag found easy. 5 on 4 to open things up for ESPADA.
That's desperate from a Lion. That's a play that really shouldn't need to come out. The fact that he's just solo walking out to that B bomb site with that AWP, he's trying to see if he can catch a CT on rotation at B just to reposition. But he's so out in the open, and Dexter gets a great opening pick. No response from WINSTRIKE. Oh, and Sofix. If they wrap around from long, they're going to see every T-side member.
Oh, Patsy and Sofix moving in. Going to catch off the first. Swing on the second, do that damage. Not quite a 3K, but it's back up, and Bonding's got his back turned towards it here. Reface from Sofix. Just finds the kill. Nickelback, 1 versus 4. Oh, it's fallen to pieces for WINSTRIKE. It really has.
That was looking a bit of a struggle there from Sofix, but you're right. This round's fallen apart. And Nickelback. Ooh, did the AWP spot him? I don't think he did. Dexter expects overextensions. Oh, he even gets a tag. Ooh. Oh, I thought that was the AWP. Okay. Not quite the AWP. But look, 7-1. ESPADA don't care who killed him.
Can you even floor bang through that? Like...
I think no, because it'd probably be 2 solid walls, right? You'd be the one underneath and then the one on top too.
Too thick as well. I don't think you'd be able to get through that.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
Wow, full Brazil for ESPADA, and they would be well chuffed at that because WINSTRIKE are just not bringing anything to the table at this stage. Nades on to do damage. A Lion is tagged up very early. Not a massive amount of damage, but still damage nonetheless. It's better than what WINSTRIKE are able to do with ESPADA here. 100 HP for every CT player at the moment. Still got long control, still got B-site, still got a player up in heaven. Very careful and considerate here from the T-side default.
You got to think as well, one thing that's got to be playing on the mind is for WINSTRIKE, they probably should have been able to close out that best of 1 against the Zarko Boars. It went to OT, and now they're in a position where they could be going out in last place of the group. And Lucky would have heard that. Straight away, Patsy's going to be heard. Do they check this position? They don't.
No, they don't, and that's 2 frags for WINSTRIKE. Okay. 5 on 3. I think their first 2-man advantage since the rush came through, and this time ESPADA's aggression is what gives WINSTRIKE the advantage. Flashes and smokes over, they look to commit and dead set towards the A side. I'm going to rotate a second player back here to try and support the AWP. M4 in, Finnegan with the AK wrapping around towards Bank, and it looks like WINSTRIKE is still going to commit to this. Demon's going to aggress. This could either turn out to be very good or very, very bad. Nickelback out, catches him in the open. He's very heavily tagged up. The AWP also flashed out position. Going to wait for players to take face.
Oh.
Catches Prison, drops that bomb in the open, but doesn't get the next man. And at this stage, Finnegan's saving. This will be a second on the board for WINSTRIKE as they do catch players aggressive and they manage to punch enough to get around.
Now back and forward for a little bit between these two sides. WINSTRIKE building up a bit of rounds on this T side. Now they've done a fair bit of damage to this economy from ESPADA. Now I'm trying to think about it. They might only get 1,900 at the end of this. It's not going to be a lot. It's certainly going to be very awkward with the money line. May even have to force the issue. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the round. Things are looking good for ESPADA. Letting a few rounds slip. And, well, you know what? They'll be able to get a buy into the next round, so it might just be a harsh eco. Of course not.
When is it ever? When is it ever, Greg?
Always happens. Always happens.
Always
Makes me
happens
cry
to
inside.
us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it happens to other people too, but it just, us in particular, happens a lot.
FAMAS and SMG for Sophic and Demon respectively. Nades on. I think the stack actually missed out and landed too deep, so no damage done in significant amounts. Again, a Lion gets off pretty lucky and pretty, you know, slap on the wrist there, damage done by the CT side. AWP Dexter still holds that long control. He might find that opening kill. The Molotov's out, no, flashed across. He does come through in the end, forcing Dexter to go back passive. He knows he's dead behind the rock, though, and he's waiting for a pop-out to come through.
I'll tell you what, the buy is actually not the worst in the world. They're clearing out Malta. They know. There's already 2 players that have pushed up through B. They can start to gamble stack up at this A bomb side. Leave Finnegan here. Bring the second player to rotate up through connector of Dima. This round's, like, this is so tough now for WINSTRIKE.
Up 60 seconds remaining. Back over to the bathrooms area. Smokes down. Patsy playing anti-flash. ESPADA, pretty good setup here, but Patsy has been red against, and now they're going to force him back. Damage hasn't been done, and still 3 players hold the A site. A little bit scrambled on this defensive. ESPADA need to formulate a position, a setup that might work to hide and hold off here on the T side line. But 30 seconds to the hit. WINSTRIKE just got to overwhelm these 3 players, and a Lion will start things off on the right foot. Taking out Dexter. FAMAS gets back out of dodge. Trying to recover that AWP. Instead, Dima comes in for the backlines. The SMG comes out. Can't get Bondic. He does get him in the end. 16 seconds, and he's holding Nickelback away. Gets that frag. Lucky comes up with 1. Patsy gets 2. Drops that bomb. And the Lion got Finnegan as the last player left. Nade up to the site when he tries to take the face on default position. The plant's going to be secure without any contention. It is closed for back. Nade onto Nickelback. This could be the kill. And it's a 1-on-1 for Finnegan against the Lion. He's going to back off, though.
Reposition, see if he can bait him out. He wasn't sure if he was actually getting flanked from the backstab out from long. A Lion's forced back into this bank position, and you've got to think for Finnegan. Smoke on the bomb, maybe try and tap it, force the AWP round to the open. He can actually stick it, Jay. He can stick this bomb. There's no way that the Lion's going to be able to take him down. The Lion's to come out. Oh, but he's not going to get there in time. ESPADA get away with a ninja defuse. And Finnegan, man, that was played so well. He realizes the fact that he hasn't seen anything on the side, getting the information that a Lion's possibly got to be out long, maybe CT or bank. And he realizes that bomb, it's planted so safe for him.
And the best part about it is that when he crossed, a Lion missed an AWP shot. So he knew, he's like, right, that AWP is in bank or it's on long. I'm covered, I can stick this defuse. And the ball's on that guy to go for it. ESPADA 8-2 up to gain the half advantage. And I don't know where you go from here. I understand it's a T-side. I understand that it's not a, you know, a C. I understand it's not a T-sided map, but just WINSTRIKE need to come up with something. At least hold some presence in this half to get yourself a way in on the CT side. Dexter and the Lion trading AWP kills back and forth. No one has any idea that Nickelback Well, Nickelback doesn't have any idea there's players behind him, so sandwiched in, 2 for 1, favours the CT side.
A bit of missed comms there coming out from ESPADA because they certainly saw Nickelback crossing, and now Lucky's been able to open up A, but Finnegan, this could be the perfect read, the perfect angle. Lucky wins it out, but can't follow up, so the advantage is still held by the CT side, and you've got to think here for WINSTRIKE, they need to go their way into B. There's no way they can go back up to A.
Lion and Crisant here with Yorp and the AK. AK in particular taking first face. Sophic doesn't see the players. He's so fixated on the short control. I think one of his teammates may have called it out. He's made noise though. They know he's there. They'll try to secure a plant. He sees the man. Turns on 4-2. Easy peasy. Japanesey. That is a night for ESPADA. And WINSTRIKE just shut out every single time.
Easy peasy Russian easy. I mean, like, I don't understand how no one checked that. Like, surely they would have heard that. Sophics, that's a great two-piece there with the FAMAS. 9-2. This is shocking. Very, very shocking. And now they're running double orbs. They go, yeah, we're just going to put the pain on even further. We're going to just keep drilling.
Love the attentiveness for them to keep focusing on that 4-man boost.
Yeah, they're waiting for it.
Won't come out here from WINSTRIKE. I know they like to go for it, but AWP's in, smoke's down. Lucky heard, Patsy. There with support from Dexter to take the player down. They have baited in the orb shot though, and he does get responded to. A line boosted up, top of the smoke, 4-on-4. Back up to arrive in Dean with the SMG though. He's got Patsy to deal with on the long position, and Bondnik and Chris do chime in, take those players down. So actually, WINSTRIKE win out the fights and gain the site.
They're out of there. That is a very quick round from WINSTRIKE, and it looked pretty simple. They lost that opening kill onto Lucky. We see the AWP getting boosted up over to the top of that divider smoke. They answer back on a 4-on-4. They use 2 smokes, one out towards bank, one out towards CT garbage. And from there, they open up the site. They get some really great entries, and well, ESPADA, they are left to save onto this AWP and the FAMA. Even for Bondnik, though, he takes down one, maybe a second. They know where Finnegan is now.
Getting the hell out of dodge, though, to hold on to that AWP.
Yeah. Oh, no money. They're probably going to have to force.
Yeah, seems likely. I mean, there's still sub-saving for Dexter, so we could see another rifle come through. Sophic could also force the issue to automatic. Patsy and Demon are going to have some problems, and indeed they do drop some weapons, so there are some M4s in. FAMAS for Demon as well. It's actually not the worst buy in the world, but the 5-7 for Sophic is going to look concerning for ESPADA. Funny the thing, that's however many rounds they got in a row, and they still weren't able to build up a decent economy just because WINSTRIKE were able to do so much with their T-side rounds.
It's a little bit surprising that WINSTRIKE have been able to kind of chip away that the economical damage on that CT side to make sure that even going into round 13, it's going to have to be a force buy. Now, 9 rounds up on the board. You'd even think for ESPADA, if they can get to 10, at least 10 in the first half, they'll be satisfied. If they can push it even further, then of course they'll be happy. But I think 10 rounds would be a really great position for them to go onto T. And for WINSTRIKE, they just need everything. They need absolutely everything. They can't make any more mistakes at this point. Even in a buy like this, the more you run down the clock and more utility you bait out, the easier it's going to be on the set piece.
Flash is set for FAMAS moving forward. Dima held back towards short as Crisant catches him off guard. Finnegan got 2 players to line up but couldn't quite find them in this one. 43 HP, falls back towards the water cubby. The plant should be secured here. Player coming off from heaven though, they haven't checked it. Patsy's allowed a kill. The smoke finally comes down. He jumps his way straight out into that water position. Going to try and take a fight against Crisant. The Crisant can't quite find the kill for. Lucky does get Sophic, so back to the man advantage of WINSTRIKE. Facing even Patsy. Crisant falls. Dexter falls in trade. Finnegan left alone. 1-on-3 scenario. Grabbing the AWP. Just getting away alive. And conceding the 4th round to the T side.
Oh, he just picks up that AWP. And WINSTRIKE can be very satisfied with that round. They get some really nice entries. The trading, the post plant looked exceptional. And they're starting to come into their own. We saw, what, a 6-0 lead at one point for the ESPADA side. And they even take down that AWP, so there's no chance for any recovery. This should just be a USP round.
Nine to 4. WINSTRIKE have started to stack up a few rounds here on T side, and at least they can get a good T side half. They could find their way in with a decent opportunity on CT. There's an eco coming through for ESPADA as well, so a 5th to the WINSTRIKE board is always welcomed. Out to the connector control into the mid presence. They've got Sopvik left alone to defend against it. A 4-man stacking towards long, so rotations could go for a retake, do some damage. But for the most part, WINSTRIKE should maintain control. Until they throw Molotovs like that, in which case, well, yeah.
He was trying to molly the rock position, but, well, the lineup wasn't quite there for Lion, but there's quite a lot of USPs, I should say. He saw something, a little bit of a gun barrel, I believe, of Dima in that sort of tree rock position.
I'm surprised he didn't hit it, though. Like, that should have been a wallbang kill. Oh. Plant down, flash in, Valaki takes face, takes Dexter. Finnegan trades it back though. The line gets Patsy next. Finnegan and Sopvik, last 2 players. And WINSTRIKE do indeed maintain presence and control. PT50's moving in to potentially grab one of the rifles that was dropped to try and save it, but they've bracketed him in towards long, so even if he gets onto this site, and they have got site control. If they had a smoke, then in theory they could go for a ninja, but Bondik's still lurking in back. They can't quite do it, so 5th to the WINSTRIKE, and a vibe coming in for ESPADA.
Good recovery out for the WINSTRIKE side. This is now a couple rounds in a row, 3 in a row, I believe it is. Looking to see if they can make it 4. And at least put some sort of smiles on their dial going into the second half. At least for the ESPADA side, they do have the AWP out. It is a glass cannon. They have very minimal utility and not a single kit. So this is like a pretty weak buy in terms of what we've seen in their rifle rounds so far.
They go back getting Patsy. AWP of Dexter watching out into the bathrooms area, ready for face up with the AKs. Smoke's down. Molotov's coming in as well. 5 on 4 for WINSTRIKE. Ending a man advantage against ESPADA. Way to work in and get their 6th.
Heading over to B. I tell you what, Dima, so they've actually cleared out B, but Dima's going to be able to get a bit of information. As soon as he sees a bit of a leg or a flashbang, anything, he'll be able to call out some rotations. There it is. That's the info.
Orb in, good shot. Crizzen down. Refacing for a bit more control. Molotov's going to take the 4 HP for him, though. They go back and Lucky is suppressed here as Sopvik does find Bondik. Trade of 15 HP, though. 2 players are very low on the ESPADA side, and Deem is desperately looking for a pick back here on a short position. Does he see Lucky? Indeed he does. Catches it all back for a 2nd kill as well. And a Lion left alone, a 1 on 4. Orb shots not landing. Finnegan gets the kill, and it's 10 to 5 for ESPADA to close out their CT half. Such a good CT half at that.
Oh, it really is. That's a very, very strong half indeed. And WINSTRIKE, I would say that they're probably a team that can deal with pressure pretty easily, especially with how many experienced players you have in the likes of Crizzen and Bondik. You can even throw Nickelback in there. Maybe for Lion and Lackey, they're relatively not new to the scene, but haven't been able to have sort of very long careers, at least so far. So for them, I don't think they're going to struggle in terms of the pressure building up, especially in an elimination match like this, being 5 to 10 down going into the second half. But they need to win Pistol. They need to get off to a good start to even give them a chance of coming back.
You can see how the numbers have switched things over. They're still pretty tight for WINSTRIKE, but they are not quite as high as they were over in the first map. And the contrary to be said for ESPADA. Very spread apart, but Patsy right now is the player that's doing the most damage on the server. 17 kills. As this side look to turn their fortunes back from the very, very poor start in the day. And even after that, they've got another best of 3 coming up a little bit later on against the winner of Isaaco Balls versus, the loser, I should say, of Isaaco Balls versus Singularity. That match is going to map 3 as well. So, you know, very long night for these boys. But ESPADA set to win their map up here. If they could do that, then they have another chance at the playoffs.
And I suppose if that game's going to a third map, it will give one of these two teams a bit of a resting period, depending on sort of how quickly that last map goes. But a bit of a respite to take on in that next best of 3. And the odds over at our good friends at LootBet are great betting partners. Still favouring up to the ESPADA side. If you do want to get involved in those odds, you can check out the information in the Twitch chat and below the Twitch channel. Into the pistol round, Jay. There is a very, very vital task at hand, and it is to win the pistol for WINSTRIKE.
You've got double flash and defuse for Crizzen. Single flash smoke on Sopvik. He's got the P250 off the Dexter, meaning the raid boss of this matchup. Patsy, the first player to fall. The hands of the WINSTRIKE side. A 5-on-4 scenario. They have stacked in connector, so the long control and the split in towards the A site is very possible for a bomb plant to be retaken for WINSTRIKE, but
He's open.
But they don't have an angle of rotation here. They've lost their mid control, they've lost their top of angle control. Obviously, they don't have mid connector control. So this B site under siege. His best he can do here is set up a backstab against the CT retake.
It's going to be tough, you're right. There's no way of getting that bomb over to B. Lucky's going to be able to spot that bomb, crossing the timing. They can plant open for bank. This can actually work out really nicely for the B player of Dima.
Crizzen's checking his angles. He's concerned that something like this might be coming through and indeed a line does go down. They've heard those footsteps, and Sopvik swings on a second kill, potentially finding a third towards long, but they're not going to take that aggressive face on WINSTRIKE. 3-on-3. CT's wrapping over. Bondic swings in from long. Finally shuts Sopvik down. Face up from Crizzen. Sees Dima next, tagging him to 68. Finnegan gets Crizzen down though. 2-on-2. Nickelback at point blank wins the fight. And Finnegan desperately again looking for the kill. We can't quite get it against Bondic. The defuse will come through for WINSTRIKE, just about securing their 6th.
I'll tell you what, that's actually such a big brain play coming out from Crizzen to just have an idea that there may be, it's a very slim chance, because he was the one that was jump spotting. So he's sort of saying there's just a very slim chance that someone's going to be on the back lines. He hears those footsteps, relays that information across. And it was a little bit chaotic. We saw some really great gunfights coming out from the Glocks. But in the end, it was WINSTRIKE to be able to retake the bomb site, get that defuse through. But with the bomb plant, the T's are going for the instant force by Jay. They're going for the rifles off the back straight away.
Well, scouts in for Reliant, take the 30. Sopvik with his own scout out to the long control. WINSTRIKE taking early damage, and that bomb plant giving ESPADA, of course, the better buy. AK with 3 Galil, scout out. Sopvik is first to fall. Finnegan finds the trade back on Bondic, so 4-on-4. Still Lucky facing. Dexter finds the drive-by headshot coming through. 2 for 1 again to the favor of ESPADA, and very heavily tagged up is Nickelback and Alliance. So things are not looking good for WINSTRIKE's follow-up.
They really aren't. They're in a really awkward position now. A couple of players tagged up at a man disadvantage. It's not going to be easy to bring a sort of situation like this back in your favor. And it needs to come off the back of aggression. They need to see if they can bring and force some sort of 3-on-3 back. Now, for Nickelback, he's got to find a couple of kills here because he's only got a teammate of Alight to try and back him up. Oh, Nickelback fires a little early, only finds 1 kill.
2 return for ESPADA, leaving Crizzen alone in the 1-on-3. SMG, no kit, no utility, and a swing against Dexter. They've heard the footsteps. He'll jump face, but he'll get taken out. So there's 11 to the ESPADA board. And WINSTRIKE left with no money. A double eco, in fact. They've got to force buy once again here. Trust that they can force it into it against the ESPADA side. try to do something with what little they can get.
Can you imagine if WINSTRIKE are the team to go in 4th place? I mean, if someone told me that on Twitter a few days ago, I would have actually said they're joking. There's no way. There's no way WINSTRIKE are going out in 4th, especially in this group of Group A, but it's certainly a possibility now. Great nades onto Sophics to do some early damage, but you're right, the force buy has to come back, and it's got to be successful, otherwise the rounds will just spiral out of control for this ESPADA camp. That's a good opening coming out for Lion.
Scout cancels the damage done by the HE against Sophics name. Now the M4 takes contact on the T side, AK set to follow. Lackey on short, might be in a bit of a problem. Nades on, following suit. Not going down, Crescent. High in pillars, Nickelback falls to trade. 4-on-4, still sad grill. Crescent with a 5-7, trying to bait in some close range fights against the T-side players. Finds Dima at long range instead. Swings and just connects the headshot. Bondic on the backside gets passing next. And WINSTRIKE may still win this out. Indeed they do. Dexter, 2 picks back for a chance. Trying to force back on a scout play here towards heaven. He's got a 3rd. But the bomb out in Monster. He's got to challenge the 4th of Bondic for a 1-on-4 to clutch this against the force buy of WINSTRIKE, and time is ticking away for Dexter.
Oh, he knows where Bondic is. Dexter wasn't sure if he'd over-aggressed out through short, and it all comes down to a game of chicken. He's going to wait for Bondic to make a play. Now, there's an opportunity of trying to pick up this bomb. Bondic's already making his way in. Dexter on 30 HP, Bondic on 46, and it all comes down to timing. But look at the reposition from Bondic. Surely there's no way Dexter expects this.
AK moving, 15 seconds. Bondic gonna catch him on the side, spray through and shut him down. No clutch for Dexter today, and the force buy works for WINSTRIKE. A 7 for the board to keep them on track.
Dima was in the biggest off angle I think I've ever seen. He was so far up the grill. I'm even surprised Chris was able to find that kill onto him. But the round's still expensive. Dexter does some really great work of taking a few players down on the side. Bondic's able to clutch out a massive 1-on-1. He just repositions himself so lovely. There's just no way you can expect him to be there. And when we spoke about the force buy needing to be successful, it was, and now the T's are forcing. We're getting into a really scrappy fest of CS at the moment.
Nades ready. Perfect. Oh, that's a lot of damage. And the team's going to enter here for the ESPADA camp. AK Tappadima catching out Lucky, tapping through towards the toxic barrels, and the player there gets out of dodge. Crimson just ducking his head below, actually seeing D-Lee jumps faces. Gets the headshot somehow. The 5-on-3 scenario, Nickelback and Bondic taking face. Bondic finds Dima, but no more than that. It goes quiet across the aggressive ESPADA setup.
Look at Sophics! Look at Sophics! He's in the back line. This round's done. This round is absolutely done. It's a 4-on-3. This should be a 4-on-2. An easy scout kill. Patsy gets it, and he can even knife a line. He can knife him. Get the BM. That's what we're talking about. There we are. A 12th round up for ESPADA. That was a jumping AK kill from Dima. What? How? It's always the CIS teams that make it work, Jay. Always the CIS teams.
But don't ask me how, don't ask me why. All I know is that he was jump facing and somehow connected that kill. And Sophic in the back, obviously knowing exactly what to do. Lion had all his attention drawn. They had no info on the backstab. And ESPADA get 12 on their board. The force buys from WINSTRIKE only get them so far. They're going to force back and try to keep the war of attrition going. But ESPADA on a tactical here, because if they can shut down this next force, they could be within the match point here.
They have some sort of magic voodoo. I don't know what it is, but when European teams go for the jumping MP9s or the MAC-10s or the AKs, never works. When a CIS team does it, it's just 100% accuracy. I don't know how it works, but it's unbelievable. There was just some really great entries coming out from Dima. And you look at WINSTRIKE and think, how many rounds now are we going to go forward and back? Because for WINSTRIKE, they can't keep doing that because they're down 7-12.
Oh, Dexter trying to redeem and open things up on Nickelback. The jump face of the Eagle hoping to catch off some frags, and the best he could do is do a wallbang, miss it entirely. And 1:20 to this clock. ESPADA set towards the short control. Molotovs down over at Toxic, and Dima starts taking face over to the pillar. over to the ramp position, seeing nothing on the CT side. And a minute to go for WINSTRIKE. They're just holding things off. They have lost a player though, and ESPADA will lean towards the B hit.
I think ESPADA win this round. They pretty much win this series. This is so vital for ESPADA, and that's why they're taking it so cautiously. And Deem is setting themselves up for a barrels molly. Now, there's a lot of CTs here at B, so it all comes down to the entries. And Sophics already positioned himself nicely. The swing coming out, and no one is blind on that T side.
Lion shots, 2 frags, trying to make it 3, but he's got to ace clutch this whole thing for WINSTRIKE. He won't find anything for it. This will be 8 denied for WINSTRIKE, a 13th instead for ESPADA. 8k 47s for Patsy and Finnegan, M4 for Dima. So Rifle saved in to try and build up the economy state, and of course this force buy has been shut down, so there's no choice but to eco for WINSTRIKE.
And you don't want to eco. You don't, but you have to. 13 rounds up for the ESPADA camp. Very, very similar signs of what we saw in Dust 2. WINSTRIKE having glimpses of a bit of success here and there, but not on a consistent basis. And this is getting out of control now. I think this is getting to a position where it's unrecoverable.
Well, it will certainly be close to it. We're looking at 14-7, assuming WINSTRIKE don't force up and try and do something deadly here. And there's no real reason to do so because the economy will be so wrecked if they go for this force up. Got a scout from a Lion. They can buy a Zeus for Lackey. That's fine. That's nothing too irrespective of, you know, the level of investment they really want to get out of here. So, you know, just a little bit extra. Try to do the damage, try to get the headshots, try to sneak in a close range kill with the Zapper. But mostly look just to concede. Run boost out from Lackey, gets out towards the short control. Don't extend too far though, because otherwise it won't be able to work at that kind of a range. Finnegan opens up towards T-Con though. Crizzen and Nickelback first 2 casualties.
Sophics already been able to open up B, and this round is pretty much all but over. Unfortunately for a Lion, and that scout that was saved in has not really been able to find anything. A potential opportunity out here at long. Surely he's been heard. Yeah, he's been heard now. Easy.
Botnik on 4 HP. Getting caught off on the dinks now. Finds that kill. Finnegan just swings out and gets that tap to the head though, so no real chance for a frag. 14-7. And the buyback for WINSTRIKE is their last chance. They need this round. They need to go all the way, else they will be shut out in last place of the group. And again, who would have thought it? Who would have thought WINSTRIKE of all teams would get shut out in group stage?
Yeah, I certainly didn't. This is a massive, massive surprise to potentially see WINSTRIKE going out. Now, we saw them place 3rd in their group last week, but again, they had a really tough group, and I looked at this and thought, look, it's not going to be a walk in the park, but it should be pretty simple, and I was certainly incorrect. WINSTRIKE have just been outclassed today, and you've got to think, like, where do you even go from here? This is just such a veteran lineup.
Nade stacks in, 1 misses. Doesn't do any damage to the CT defensive though, so it's not exactly going to be in a fantastic position. M4 set towards the bomb site. Patsy gets Bondic to open things up for the T side line. Smokes on Nickelback, held back to the ramp position, 60 seconds left to the clock. Sophic and Dima, very different positions. The bomb on the back of Sophic in particular, looking to try and find the entries. WINSTRIKE have lost their opener, and it looks like the execution is going to come in any moment now from ESPADA. Nades up the stall for time, but time is on their side. Rotations coming through. A Lion going to try and keep them held back with a flashbang. Nickelback and Crizzen playing anti-flash of their own right. Got swinging from Monster, not looking the right way. They do catch off the AWP, but Nickelback traded by Demon. Got to look for Lackey on the bomb site. He gets that kill. Finnegan gets Crizzen though, so Lackey left alone. 25 to the clock. Alliance rotating out. Molotovs in towards the wall position. Lion catches Sophic for a 2-on-2, and Patsy goes down, but Finnegan finds 1 back to a 1-on-1, sees the AWP, forces the bomb plant, forcing the 1v1 and trying to force the kill to win out the round for ESPADA. They get us to map point. USP's coming in, and the Lion wins the fight. Just holding on for WINSTRIKE.
Oh, what a massive clutch to come out from WINSTRIKE. A Lion, it goes with the USP rather than the AWP. And, well, a big round to come out. And a much-needed one. Unfortunately, it doesn't do any damage to the economy of the T side. They've got so much money to work with. And with only one player staying alive for WINSTRIKE, they're going to be able to get a rifle round through. But it means there is such an opportunity of an instant money reset going in to round 23.
Smoke onto the site early here from the T side. What are ESPADA planning? What is the game plan from this T side? I mean, they're going to go out towards long very early on here. AWP facing in for a Lion. Got to do so much. Just flashed out position, held to the corner. bo3 to back him up. ESPADA just counter-rotate right back out to the B site instead, so they're going to continue to commit to this monster push.
Oh, they've forced out a lot of utility from this CT side, and they've kind of just played a little bit of mind games. You know, they go early util to B, they go fast out from long, now they go back to this B bomb side. Both the players of the defenders of the anchors at the B bomb side are playing very close to this monster position, so if they're blind and they're flash, that could open up a very big opportunity of finding some really great entries for the Ts. And now they're going to bring a third player over, make this defensive stronger.
Molotov set nades on towards ramp. Lucky's going to get tagged up a little bit. Nickelback so close. Blind firing. Dexter and Dima overwhelm the defensive. 5 on 3. AWP focuses and drops that bomb out pretty far into CT control. But Trades continue to hold a 4 on 2 scenario. And no more graffiti presence there either. You can pick that bomb up and get it planted. The AWP of a Lion still waiting for someone to face him. The plant comes through. And this retake. Now with the M4 giving up his position, they know exactly where both of them are at. This probably should be a safe call for WINSTRIKE. I don't see any way they can make this retake happen. Time's ticking, they're looking for exits. And ESPADA will get to map and match point, and for WINSTRIKE, that's elimination point.
A Lion staying around for a little bit too long for my liking. Like, what is he achieving by fighting an exit kill? Yeah, you're limiting the economy for the T side, but it is so important that he holds onto the AWP because they're going to have no money going forward. I think he just got seen from Sophics. Alright, that's a good shot at least.
I mean, even then, with that kill, it's not going to limit the economy much of ESPADA. Yeah. They've got plenty of cash, so the pad his stats and make it so like it's not my fault or anything.
Yeah, go for the R-dubs. It's getting worrying now, Jay. It really is. Like, 8-15 down. You've got an AWP, yeah. You've got an M4, yeah. But you've also got 2 FAMASas and a pistol. That's it. That's all they've got to work for. And for ESPADA, they've got 7, well, series points at this moment of time.
The Lion held towards that corner of short. bo3 held back. Dima a walk straight out of Monster. He's been seen now, though. Continue facing up, take that fight. Just about lose it out, but not get killed off here. bo3 with the first pick. Nickelback traded. 4 on 4. Nades up, Crizzen low. AWP of a Lion still there. The bomb catches Dima. The bomb's in CT control, though. And ESPADA have no idea that Lackey is here. Lackey play held back towards Tikon. Franagas, you could still make this work out, but he's going down through short. And Connector gets bo3 3 on 3. Now Lackey's got a bit more difficulty, but they still have no idea he's here.
Oh, it was so tunnel vision coming out from Lackey. Did not see that player. Now, a Lion had jumped over the cross, so Dexter probably won't win this out. And there it is, a 3 on 2 advantage now for WINSTRIKE. And you're right, ESPADA still don't know that the bomb control is in CT hands.
So long as Lackey does not move and does not get taken out, he's basically won the round from here. So much aggression from Finnegan as well, or something I should say, and Finnegan will get taken down, so all that's left is something falling into the hands of Crizzen, so WINSTRIKE not ready to die just yet, it seems. A 9th to that CT board. And the rebuy is coming through now, should see the AWPs back out, the AKs in. Sophic maybe is limited by the Tech 9, so maybe that economy damage to do a little bit on the part of Lion, but still a round that must be won here, and they're still up against 4 rifles.
A little bit. I mean, the Tech 9's going to be out. And that was a big individual play coming out from Lucky, the fact that he's able to get that information of that bomb control. But the follow-up needs to come through, and that's where WINSTRIKE have struggled the most, Jay, is that often we see great rounds from them, but it's the follow-ups where it's probably been their biggest weakness over the course of this series.
WINSTRIKE need to follow up right here. They need to follow up for the next 6 rounds. Else they will be out. And already bo3 has gone down to the hands of the ESPADA forces. Sopvik can recover this rifle. It's dropped by the CT players. It's an M4, not an AK. If you can find Lucky, you can upgrade that to an AK, but for now, just being careful about facing into that short position. They want to lean towards the A side, it seems, especially with Dexter getting a Lion. Suddenly, this round starts to look to fall apart for WINSTRIKE.
Oh, not like this. Not like this, WINSTRIKE. Nickelback, a potential of trying to backstab the long players, but you've got to think 3-on-5. It's just going to be so difficult here, especially when it comes down to some of this timing. Lucky's been seen in the shadow. Oh, that's a massive gunfight to be won.
Might force the issue back. A site got to be the control, though. No one's defending it directly. Got one player short, one player just rotating out to bank. Nickelback on 12 HP as well, by the way. He can't really take an aggressive face. And Bomb making his way up, smoke down towards the dumpster area. We've got a player coming from bank, and Nickelback goes down. Lucky and Krisen, the last 2 survivors, the last 2 defenders of the CT side. And Lucky will get himself a couple kills, 2-on-2. Taps up from the headshot. Patsy gets us to evens again, but Lucky got a HP advantage. Patsy got the AWP. 1 shot, 1 kill, sticking the bomb. Patsy can't find the man.
Oh!
He's done damage, but Lucky escapes to secure the defuse and keep WINSTRIKE alive again.
He tags him. Oh, he tags him. WINSTRIKE. Another massive round. Huge clutch coming through. And that was a 2-on-4. Lucky did so much work in the rotation up to that Optimus position. And now you've got to think for ESPADA, they're probably starting to sweat. They are letting this comeback come through. 2 rounds in a row now for WINSTRIKE. Now, they have been able to limit the economy quite low. This could be a Russian to be.
I think it is. They're going to wait for that Molotov to clear the smoke down. Might even get them in a little bit quicker. Flash is set. Not even now. They're just going to dry face. The Molotov's coming through, and it's a little bit too late. Krisen gets 1 pick back. Patsy can at least find him on the trade. And Nickelback, a nice gap to work with here in the bridge area. 2 to line up. Frimmy swings on Dima. Just getting damage to Patsy. Does not finish off the kill, but he's so low. This SMG could find his player. He doesn't. Patsy, 3-on-2. Dexter gets a Lion to 1. bo3, all that remains for WINSTRIKE. And despite their tenacity, despite their patience, despite their willingness to stay alive, it doesn't look like they'll be successful this time. A 1-on-3 for this Lone Ranger. And B-site contested, held to angles. On short is where we'll make his way up, smoked out, not even a kit, just a flashbang to enter, probably get a pick, and probably get traded off the back of that. Finds the first player, Dexter still there with the AWP.